Let's see here. There we go.
Start things up.
Okay.
I'm relying on you and Mike.
Okay. Yep.
I mean, I got some stuff done, but it just.
Oh, you have lots of stuff. Come on. Once we get going on Specialty Priest, you will have an hour of.
You know, religions. I've taken this from like a grand scheme or like organizations and stuff. Not so we'll see.
But
So,
that's
we got
what
a couple.
at least a half of the audience. That's what they want to hear.
Yeah.
Because that's what they will have good use for.
Cool. By the way, Mr. Moore has been liking a lot of my posts now.
He
Like when I
is
post
so
that.
into the Greyhawk community now. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
That's good.
Yep.
Next, by the way, we got Living Greyhawk High Folk next week.
Oh, perfect. Great.
I just got finalized a couple hours ago.
That is fantastic. It's so good to see Roger coming back to the Greyhawk community.
Yep.
It's so cool.
Wrong screen, no wonder. So how late did the game go last night? I kind of crashed. 10
We
o'clock?
went
10 Eastern?
8. No, I think it was 9 Eastern. I think must have been because no. Hang on a second. We went on to was it like 7 o'clock my time? So
10.
10. Yeah, 10 Eastern. Yeah.
Cool. That's
10,
good.
10:30, something like that. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a cool, intense game. So yeah,
Good.
John really rocked it. He had planned so many stuff, and he sang opera and stuff. That was so
Oh,
much
wow,
fun.
that's really cool.
Yeah, he really
Hey, Fuzz.
went crazy in DMing. That was a lot of fun. So, and I told him before the game that don't hold back.
Yeah.
Play like it was the 1980s, and he did. So that was awesome.
good.
So, yeah, I just had to tell the players that that he went off the Rookers as a DM was something that I kind of endorsed him to do before the game. So I had to say that. Yeah, so no one got any kind of
Right.
ideas
understand.
that he might corner me or whatever. I'm a vulnerable female player. No, that
Yeah,
was
no.
not the case. So I had to just say it. So we had to, because that might be people who come in and are new to the game, so to speak.
Right.
And realize that's not what you should do on a stream. But the way John did it and that he did it to me, that was the way it was supposed to be. So
Cool.
that was good. That was all good. Yeah, it was great. And the way he did it was awesome. So yeah,
Very
he gave
cool.
me plenty of chances to back out, and I did. I stayed in because it was fun. Yeah.
I didn't catch the end because I was so exhausted. Any deaths or anything?
And yeah, Tim's. Yeah. So Didmore. So Didymore. No, hang on a second.
Didymus.
Didymus. Yeah.
Yeah.
His manservant got killed.
Oh,
by a
his
lightning bolt.
manservant got killed.
Yes, got killed by a lightning bolt. So he took it to the chest. So he's gone.
That's awesome.
Yep.
But
that
not,
was the
not
only death.
Epididymus himself.
Exactly. No, that was.
That's cool.
Yep.
Good.
Yep. And now we have won the trust and allegiance and friendship with Estella.
Tempest.
Yep.
Valmoko, Chantel, what's going on? Getting wired up here as well as I can. Right there. A fun, long work day today. So, but I'm okay. Real life, you know, gets in the way of gaming. Sometimes it does. No mic still.
Uh-oh.
What button next? I gotta change the cabin.
Greyhawk Games. Join the fray.
I gotta change the Gavin over at least to this. You know, at least I have something. I can't keep on forgetting that the Gavin, I have the wrong ad for Trollord, but I gotta get with them. I'm like, give me an ad finally, dude.
Yeah. I need to take off my sweater.
Yeah, it's hot here. Actually, I had to put the air on here. It was like 80 something.
Yeah, we've gone down. Today was only 65 again. We had an 85 degrees yesterday, and now it's down to 65, and it will be 60 again.
Wrong, button it up.
Yeah. So we went from summer weather to winter weather again, and then
really?
we went. Yeah. Oh yeah, winter weather for a couple of days, meaning temperature in the high 50s, low 60s, and about 60 or so for a couple of days, and then back to 80 again, I think. Yeah. What do you consider really hot?
For an April, 84, 85?
That's good. That's my sweet spot. I love it. 85 is my sweet spot.
What's up, Bones?
85 to 90 is perfect.
What's going on? Bones still in recovery mode from that Saturday night game? Oh my gosh. By the way, almost everyone leveled but you. Like, let's see, you didn't level, and Scarn, Mike Disney's. Sure. Farting around's fine. No, it's just because remember you were already 7th and everyone else was 6th, and Scarn's 8th. So, yeah, that's what that is. It's just you're a straight thief, level-wise. You're ahead of them anyway. So. I think I already ran that. Did I run this already? I can't even remember if I ran this already. Thank you, Tempest. Appreciate that. No, I didn't run this yet, did I? I don't think I did. It's only 7:50. You know what? I'm just running for about 10 seconds. Yeah, I did. There you go, Chantel. Thanks. I thought I did. Well, Tempest, hopefully there'll be some more of them. That group is really good to try and keep that one together, too. Depending on if the nerdy guy group sticks, once we get them running, I'll have 5 special groups I'm rotating, which is a little much, but
yeah,
but that's okay. Have oops, Mike. Have the Scarn group, which is DD. Oh my God, what's it called? God. DFCC or something like that, whatever they can do. And Greenwood's group, Slav Squad, and the new recruits, which is the one Tempest you're going to get into. Yeah, that one's loud. Gamescape's always loud for some stupid reason. I try and reset it, and it always resets. How you doing, Mike?
Yo.
There we go. I turned it down a little bit.
Yep.
I imagine at least Blue Box, Wend, or Mike Disney will be coming in shortly, so we'll early still. Woohoo! Oh, we are 2 frickin' followers away from 10,000. Not 2.
Dude, you need to get
9998.
Yeah, you need to get them today.
2. Oh my gosh. I know. It's okay.
I have
Just
to ask
saying,
my
we're getting
Facebook
close.
followers or
close.
something to go on here and just
Because then I'll
follow.
lose 100 again, like I always do.
Oh yeah, but at least you've been over the hump once. Have you been over the hump?
Time. Yeah.
Have you been over it?
No,
yet?
I haven't been over 10,000.
Oh, okay.
No need, Chantel. No need. It'll come. It'll come.
Yep. We use every
Not
email address we
necessary.
have
It'll
and created
come.
Twitch
It'll come
account.
It'll come definitely tomorrow. We should get like 3 to 5 followers on Thursday game.
Yeah.
Oh, I hit the wrong button. I forgot to put what the ad was. What we got. Alright. Duh! Alright, here we go. Tonight, another Mike topic. Favorite religions of Greyhawk. This can go any number of different directions. This one really can. And I think that's what's going to happen. Which is okay. Let's see what we got here. Oh, Balford's on. Thanks, Balford, for... Where are my mods? Balford's on. Let me type a thing into my guys. Lots of goals going to be met within the next couple months. This and the 1,000th episode, 1,000th game. Hey, Jeff. Awesome. No problem. I'm glad they got there quickly. I know Bones got her winnings from Saturday night and her purple Lord Gazumba shirt, which is awesome. So, a great topic discussion tonight. We are excited. Only 3 streams.
Hello, Scott. Yep.
Only 3 streams this week, everyone, so please bear with me as I only do 3 this week. Yeah, haven't you ever seen my purple Lord Gazumba? Collared. It's collared. Yeah. I usually wear that during special events. Or Thursdays. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's the most wanted demand of the ladies, like Alyssa Faden, 101. Got Bones one. I'm almost out of them. I only got XLs left. I gotta do a reorder. What's up, Tim? Tim wagged me on Blue Box. That was awesome. That was funny. So here we go, coming live here. Look, so we're 5 minutes before normal start time. Good evening. How's everyone tonight? I'm Jay Killer Gazumba, and with me, we got some partners in crime, Anna Meyer and Mike Bridges. Mike, missed a good discussion last week. You know,
yeah. So I did, huh?
One that you brought up, one that you created or formalized, and that was pretty cool. So the famous females discussion, tonight. So I was thinking a little different on the thing. When I think of religions, each deity has a group behind them. I'm thinking about the organizations that are religious organizations that follow certain deities. That's the kind of direction I went. What were your thoughts, Mike, on this topic?
Yeah, the organizations that follow the deities that I usually focus on in my campaigns, because I mean you could break this up into a couple ways, I guess. Religious organizations that I've written about or that I've used in my home game.
Right.
Other than that, I can't really speak on stuff I haven't used, maybe read about.
Right.
That's what I'm hoping we all have.
Yeah, I think we're going to share a whole bunch of stuff, because I got some really obscure ones. I got a really good obscure one I'm going to hit you with that you're going to think, wow, that's not religious. And like, yeah, it kind of is. And so what are your thoughts, Anna, on this topic?
For me, it's been a new dimension. That last decade or so, I started to really. Before, I just ran some clerics of certain gods, and I never thought much more about it, so to speak. During the third edition era, the second and third edition and Pathfinder era, when I played, it was like, oh, I had clerics of various religions and stuff like that. But now the last decade or so, I really started to think about religion's role in the world, and pantheons have become a thing that I've started to get into more and more. And
Okay.
I realized, and especially for this campaign, my Shieldland campaign, it's become a thing between the common pantheon, meaning that is kind of and I will get into the weeds of this, that is kind of a cross between majority Airdie and some old faith stuff, and then the old faith. And then I use that he's basically wanted to start his own religion in a way, breaking with it a little bit of the humanoid various religions and tribes and priests and stuff. And then for my next campaign, now I'm thinking about what about the elven faith and elven pantheon? How does that fit into the grand scheme of things? So I'm instead of focusing on clerics and individual things and so on, now my focus is much broader and see how I can integrate it. And then after I want to know how it functions more on a grander scale. That's when I want to start digging into the rules mechanics and I want to have my version of the domain system and pact magic and stuff like that. So I instead of starting to think about the rules first, I'm at setting first and then try to adapt the rules to what my view of the setting is.
You're
so
almost
that's
creating your own customized, almost from scratch 5e system.
Yeah, I'm swapping out different. Yeah, I want to keep the math and stuff like that, but I want to, just like you done with specialty priest and stuff for your version. I want to build my specialty priests, so to speak, that functions in my and so in that way I'm following in your footsteps. So yeah,
well, that's okay. I mean, and you're not,
yeah.
and you're. I'm following in Eric Boyd's footsteps.
Exactly.
You
So
know,
I want to make that for a classless system, but it's definitely tying into the concept of specialty priests in a way, because they will have access to certain things, meaning you become a member of the faith and you get betrothed with certain capacities and stuff that you can choose, so to speak, as you do it. But for me, I'm interested in it from a cultural, political kind of scheming faction point of view, and then comes the rules down the line, so to speak.
So one thing, and I've done a lot of discussions on specialty priests, and that's not the direction tonight, but if we get into it here and there to talk about a group or an organization or a religion, that's fine. I will say this again. I think that ever since that incorporation, that gave my Greyhawk its uniqueness and flavor, because there are so many different ones that we utilize, and we're still trying new ones because there's so many different deities, the demi-human deities, the orcish deities, and I think it really I think, I don't know how 5e works. I know there's domains, and I know, but I'm like, well, why are the same one sun domain or whatever it is, or war domain? I love uniqueness, and I think that's Greyhawk has an advantage. And Forgotten Realms is the same thing. Those books that Eric Boyd put together are unbelievable. The amount of detail in them are crazy. How much? But I think that somewhere between 2 and 3e with prestige classes, that kind of got lost. It's a shame, but that's not me blathering about how much I love.
But I think it's an important concept, because it's a game after all, meaning there is a game side to things. Even I have to acknowledge that despite all the lore and the deep dive into history, religion, political machinations, it still needs a game, and you need to quantify some die rolls in order to facilitate the action. And that so there and religion is an important aspect of the setting, and it's also an important aspect of the game. So it needs to be gamified one way or the other, so to speak. So that is one part that you need to bolt in. But I want to approach it not from the game mechanic side, but from the setting side, so to speak.
Agreed. And we're already getting a few questions to that.
So,
Anna.
Okay,
we
great.
got a new person in chat, and let's answer that right away. Zaga, and the reason I'm doing a Zagatkar, I'm 2 followers away from 10,000. So, what is Greyhawk's pantheon? Greyhawk's pantheon is Greyhawk has its own pantheon. Now, back in
Yeah.
the old days, pre 1980, it had the deities and demigods book. But if we go
Mhm.
here, let's go to Greyhawk Adventures.
Yeah, that's an interesting part. How it got
How it
published.
evolved.
That's a great point. Thank
Yeah.
you, Jay, for because this is one interesting aspect of it. How it has evolved over the product line, so to speak.
So yeah, Arg Scott. They're we can talk about it. Sync Cupper has 3 different sects, and SECTS. Everyone, I know we had some sex discussion during the game Saturday night, but we're
We
off
had
of that
one
now.
during the game
Yeah,
yesterday
my.
too, but that's another
Okay.
story.
So deities and clerics of Greyhawk, and you have a lot of its pantheon is rich. These are major deities only in this book. Bacchus, St. Cuthbert, I use Farlang, Istis, and it's got a really good flavor to it. Now, everyone's is a little different.
Mhm.
Mine's a little different, as I got a couple Forgotten Realms. I got some from deities and demigods, particularly. I got Finnish and a couple Celtic in there. And it's just, it's a great pantheon. It's been very well done over the years, and it's also piecemealed. You have Gary Gygax doing the Iridian gods, right?
Mhm.
And you have Leonard did all the Soul gods,
Yeah.
and
Right.
that together
Yeah.
created a home run. Before we even had the Flan, there were Flan gods mixed in, Iridian, in that, but there were really no, and the Backlunish gods came, I think, a little later.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's some wonderful, wonderful deities in here.
Yeah.
Great,
But
great content.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I also
Yeah.
like how it was a sort of religious conflict or evolution. How is that is built into the setting, and I really like that how it's done. Meaning we have an old Iridian tradition of pantheon with Iridian gods, and we have a Sul one and we have a Flan one, but there's also a common one that was a lot of the gods are in the 83 box set where you had the first and the folio didn't have the gods. It came in the 83 box set, if I remember correctly. The Greyhawk pantheons were described.
Yeah, there were no
so
gods in the original
yeah
glossography. So
yeah,
from 1980 to 82 and a half,
yeah.
I'm using still
Yep.
deities and demigods book.
Yeah, and I came in with the box set. So for me, the gods were there from the get-go. So that was something I read. But it's interesting to me. You have a sort of a common pantheon that is a mixture of mostly Iridian with a lot of influence from Flan, and a little bit Elven, a little bit Dwarven, a little bit like I'm thinking Ula, I'm thinking Elana and stuff like that I see as Elven and Dwarven influence. So there's a little bit of influence from here and there. And there's some old Flan in there, Rao, Palor, for instance, and stuff have got into the common theme. And then there's some new gods that came in later, not in the 83 box set, but Mayaheen and some others that come in, and they're all, and Cuthbert seems to be a newcomer too to this. So I like the way that now it has become like in the central Flannies, there is now a mixture of the two main ones, that the Iridian and the Flan, and then a little bit of others. And then you have areas that are more old pure Flan, and then you have areas in what used to be Grey Kingdom that was more, they stuck to the Iridian gods more purely. So the Folters, for instance, and stuff is big and so on. And I like that tension because you bring in stuff that you can use for conflict and intrigue and stuff. So those are things that are really tied into in my campaigns.
Tempest, you think there's a lot of Greyhawk deities? There are way more Forgotten Realms deities. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but Greyhawk over
ton.
the years, living Greyhawk and stuff is up to almost 100 that has been used one way or the other in the setting. So I think we're getting there. Yeah.
Yeah, true with the Backlunish. And by the way, so the question that was asked, who created the Backlunish deities? I think a lot of them got created during Living Greyhawk. I could be wrong, but I don't remember them at all.
I'd probably say Gygax.
Gygax
Really?
created it. Oh yeah, he created, and that's where I think we have a problem, so to speak, because the Backlunish was. Hello. Thank you so much for the game yesterday, and welcome. Yeah.
What's up, John
I,
and crew?
yep. We
Coming
have
in
a
on a cool
problem with
discussion.
the Bakloonish original set. We have gods like Al Akbar, for instance, and stuff. That to me, just the name in itself, it's not good. You should
Well,
not.
Saint Cuthbert is taken from from
Exactly.
lore too.
That's bad, but so in that sense, it much better to have fantasy names.
I agree.
They can be inspired from real world deities and gods. That's okay, but don't call them that. At least diversify and be creative in that sense. And Joe Block, I need to shout out to his work because he renamed and reworked the Bakloonish pantheon with new names and new stuff. So go to Greyhawk Grognard, his website, you can download it. And I'm definitely going to stick with his version of it for the most, at least the names and stuff, and use that because I think that was overdue and needed, so to speak. Yep.
So
yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Saint Cuthbert is Saint Cuthbert from medieval.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And now I've used it so long, so I'm stuck with it, so to speak. So yeah. And it's and we have Palor that feels very much like Catholicism under Inquisition and stuff, how it's described, especially in the Carl Sargent era. In some sense, it's a lot of
I think that's more Foltus.
Oh, sorry, Foltus. Yes,
yeah,
exactly,
okay.
Foltus. Yeah, yeah,
Foltus.
Like,
Palor. Huh?
No, not Palor, but Foltus. Yes, but on the other hand, I like that there is a religion that wants to be monotheistic and pure in that sense. Thematically for the setting, I think it's awesome. So and since he has a name and follow the light and stuff, so I think it's good. I really like it. So that I think it's how it should be done. You take inspiration from the real world, rename it and tweak it and give it a fantasy flavor.
Interestingly, if you were going to have St. Cuthbert be the real St. Cuthbert and come over to fantasy world, shouldn't he be more like Foltus?
Yes, that's what I think. And in some ways he is. He has that kind of.
I mean, he's
you
cool.
Have
he's cool with all these other guys,
Yeah.
and polytheistic stuff, and where back home, no, that's not the case.
But to me, the interesting part with Cuthbert is that he lacks his religion. Meaning, if you take a real world Cuthbert, he's like a Christian friar who became really knowledge and stuff.
Put it down. Anglo-Saxon saint of the early Northumbrian Church and Celtic pre-Vikings.
Yeah. So to get Cuthbert thematically in. I'm thinking this is just an idea that I spawned lately of is to what if make him a disciple of Rao, and for some reason I don't know if Cuthbert and someone, this is just an idea and I'm not saying I'm going to go with it, just an idea to see. I'm going to study and see if it has some legs or not. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, but Saint Cuthbert should have come in, like you said, the same way Mayaheen was brought
exactly.
in.
Yes, exactly. A new hero god that then became ordained up and moved up into the deities. And I would like to have it because Rao is it's an old Flan god that seems to be a god not for the commoner, a god for the high and mighty, the wise and the powerful that needs a device and stuff like that in order to how to use their power and how to rule and avoid conflict and stuff like that. But Cuthbert seems to have the opposite. It's the god for the common man, so to speak, in order to give hope and guidance and stuff like that. And
now that we're on this track though,
please.
Of St. Cuthbert and Rao,
I
can on topic here. These are two religions that I don't think I've ever pursued
in the game.
No. We used a lot
I've never had anyone play a priest of those gods, and I've never centered any stories around those religions.
Yeah. Funny, I've had both. Back in the 20, 25, 30 years ago in the second edition era and so on, then we played a lot of Cuthberts. We had in the war against IUs and stuff, Cuthbert was everywhere. So, but I didn't have I wasn't thinking anywhere near as deep 30 years ago in my gaming as I do now. So it wasn't overly complicated. Cuthbert, perfect, let's choose and then run with it. now I'm much more deep thinking, and now I'm starting to. I want things to make sense in a much deeper way.
Well,
And
if I were the player,
yeah,
Cuthbert would be what I would choose because you got the three different orders, like everyone's been saying in chat.
Yep.
yeah,
Bill
That appeals to
and
me.
yep.
The organization appeals to me
Yeah.
mhm,
as
Yep.
a DM who knows the lore behind it. But in
Yep.
practice, it just has never come up in my game.
Yep. And I actually have in this campaign, I had a cleric of Rao in this campaign. So said and the other interesting connection between Rao and Cuthbert is that Rao is the strongest in Veluna. And Cuthbert is strong in that area too. So there is geographically there seems to be a huge overlap, so to speak, in areas too. So somehow that's something I want to think about, so to speak. Yeah.
Stars, billets, and chapeau, right? They're the three.
Yeah, the three
yeah.
branches of the Cuthbertian.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you look, everyone, and you want to go and find out like more about that, and you can just go on page 9 of Greyhawk Adventures here, and it talks about you got the chapeaus dressed in varying garb, but all wear a couple hats of brown and green tartan, and then stars wear.
Mhm.
They also almost sound like Scotsmen.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know,
But
yeah,
I
you
think
know,
yeah.
So
Yeah,
But
some of the artwork on
Celtic
Cuthbert, I
too.
think
Celtic.
he
stuff,
has a beret.
yeah. But Cuthbert has an Anglo-Saxon. He comes from that part of the world, so I'm not
Yeah.
surprised that it's built that way.
So for me, Anna, I love all your thoughts on it all the time, but I go to a pragmatic sense,
Mm-hmm.
and for
Yeah.
me, Saint Cuthbert in the early days of my game is the foe of IUs pre-wars,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
especially in Temple of Elemental Evil and everywhere. The
Yeah.
Cuthbertians are out there putting down any IUs that pops up anywhere, and that's kind of where and I don't get that from Ral. I get Ral as beyond that and above that, and it'll take care of itself.
I totally agree with you. That's why
Yeah.
I said that Rao is
Thanks,
the
Jack.
god for a deity for the high and mighty, the ones advising in courtrooms and stuff like that. And Cuthbert is out there with the common man, helping, guiding,
Yep.
supporting, and stuff. So I totally agree that Rao is, if you're out there in the battlefield, Rao is not with you that much, so to speak. It's
right. So let's go to my obscure group if I can find it as we're talking here. There
Yeah.
is something that is extremely, I'm not gonna be able to find it now. You know me, I always go and I'm like, oh, it's right here, and then I'm scrolling through trying to find stuff, and I can never find it. This is the Free City Grok box set. Guilds. There's a guild. You must worship Saint Cuthbert to be a member.
What guild is that?
Any guesses out there? Let's see if anyone gets it. What is the guild? You must be an
Hat makers. No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say haberdasher. Yeah. Yeah.
It's the Guild of Night Watchmen.
Oh.
Okay. So with the Guild of Night Watchmen, the Judges Guild, that's funny. So the Guild of Night Watchmen, they must all, in order to join it, and they are like the hired gun protectors of the, most of the quarters. They protect the Lamplighters Guild. They're called Darkmen. They're like gnomes and half elves. They have to worship Saint Cuthbert to join. So it's kind of an organization. They want to get tight rein on, just like St. Cuthbert, on make sure that there are no backlashers and there are no people taking bribes, because they got to be completely above the law here, and that's the Guild of Night Watchmen. So I think that's really cool that that it was written up this way in here, and so Walt has a character named Alphonse, who's second in command of the Guild of Night Watchmen. He's a cleric bounty hunter in my game, and he is a member, and there it is, Night Watchman here. Yep. So it says it specifically right in this discussion that here. Guildmasters are easily recognized by their light blue tabards bearing the cudgel symbol of St. Cuthbert and their light blue hats with extravagant white feathers tucked into the band. So there you go.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's a neat concept. So
Yeah, and also Cuthbert is so much tied to Greyhawk lore, meaning in so many
Yep.
Greyhawk products, from Humblet and Temple of Elemental
There you
Evil
go.
and stuff. It's so Cuthbert is so central to Greyhawk lore, and especially from the Gygaxian era, that you have to keep him and keep his character. So I
Yeah,
definitely
but
don't want to change that.
yeah, and there's a lot.
Mhm.
They didn't know what they were doing back then. Let's just get. I
It's
always say
we,
cut them some slack on.
Oh,
Taking.
exactly. I
Yeah,
do. It's just that I
yeah.
want to, if I want to advance it and tie it together, what kind of options are there, so to speak,
Right,
to do it,
exactly. And
to keep the
Baby Fan
character
Fun
in.
says Ral
Mhm.
has Zodal in St. Cuthbert's place. I guess that's a possibility too.
Yeah,
Yep.
One of the more obscure deities. Or
yeah.
just jogged my memory of the Night Watchman. I party has a scuffle with them back. Yeah, it didn't end well because they are unyielding. So law is more important than the good.
Hmm.
And it's an organization based on a religion. I
Yeah,
think
and
that's a cool
Cuthbertian.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and Cuthbertians are zealots, or that
Oh,
really
thanks for
extremist in that sense,
duh.
and especially what is it, the chapeau, or the ones that are supposed to make sure that everybody stay in
The
line.
backsliders, prevent
Yeah.
backsliding.
Hmm.
I did not
Yeah.
start the giveaway. Now I did, and thank you, anyone fan, for reminding me. See, yeah, my brain is
Yeah.
mush today. We're
Mhm.
doing some classic D&D reprints tonight. Please feel free to sign
Yeah.
up. So,
But and also, while we're still at Cuthbert, it's
sure.
interesting to see. I think St. Cuthbert is only listed as common, meaning he doesn't seem to have either an Origian or a Flan past, so to speak. So he seems to,
Huh.
like Mayahin, one of these gods that have appeared in the setting recently and doesn't seem to have that old cultural legacy of back in the day. Rao is
Cool.
listed, on the other hand, as a Flan common, so to speak. So someone, and to me, the interesting that you have Oridian common, you have Flan common, and I wouldn't be surprised if there is some Sewell common and Baklunish common too. Maybe not that Baklunish, but it's interesting that so there seems to be now a common religion evolved in, so to speak, like where several gods. And in my campaign, I've taken this to heart. So in what used to be Western Grey Kingdom, meaning Old Faerun, Veluna, Furion, the Shieldlands, Divers, High Folk, and stuff, there is now a new common religion that is based on the synthesis between Iridian gods and Flan gods and a little bit of Elven gods. So you have Rao, Palor, and stuff, and then
cool.
So that has become the kind of a Western Erdi Flan Elven kind of mix, so to speak, and Rao is one of the major gods, and
The good guys.
yeah, exactly, the good guys, yes, and that means that Foltus have been replaced with Palor, and almost exclusively, because and now that is spreading into Nairon too, because Faultians in Pale and the Nairondians are not on the same page anymore. So Palor is getting more, and Hieronymus is one of the Airdy strong ones, so to speak. So and it's interesting. Go back 500-600 years, and Palor and Hieronymus would have been almost enemies on the battlefield. One being Airdian, Iridian, and one being Flan, and now you have them joining forces because against that is so there's new, and I see that as an interesting evolving thing, just like in the real world. Religions change over centuries and stuff, but I can totally get it if you don't want that, you don't care, you're just interested in how it is, how it works now, and how it worked 500 years ago. Skip that part.
Well, we're starting on the beginning here, and where's the
Yeah.
one for Hexstar? I really like Hexstar.
Yes,
I
me
do.
too.
I do a
Mhm.
lot.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
It's an
think
easy religion to get behind.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
They're
I
so
agree,
bad.
Jeff, 100%. In fact,
Yep.
so much that I talked with Gary Hooley, and if we want to go there, we can now. And there's a spot. I don't know if I
But
have
now
it
it's the
up.
wrong
Yeah.
side of the map. Isn't it? No.
Well, no,
I'm just kidding. They're
it
teasing you.
is technically from Great Kingdom, but that doesn't mean
Yeah, I was
you
going
can't.
to say, now we get, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but please, sorry, go on.
I gotta find it now. I'm gonna show you the preemptive. If I can get, oh god, I almost said if I can get it up. I didn't mean it that way. So
That's a cool little picture you have with the guy with the staff. He
yeah,
looks really cool, though.
that is Farling, I believe.
Uh-huh. Oh, wow.
Or is that
I
Carl
don't think.
Glittergold? It's one of the two. I always get them all
Okay,
confused.
I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks kind of
Yeah.
gnomish a little bit, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got
but he looks
or is
really
it no,
cool.
it's Bear Van Wild Wanderer. Oh
Uh-huh.
my gosh, that's it. Yeah, I pulled out all the demi-humans out and I missed one because I had a huge listing of them. All right, so Hexter.
Yep.
I
Good
found
choice.
Bastion of Faith.
Yep.
You got Heronius and Hexter within this. So
Mhm.
if you want to
Good.
go and see a written up Hextor priest, let's go to the very back of this Bastion of Faith, which is all Greyhawk, by the way. There's a lot of great things in here.
It's not listed Greyhawk, but it's
Yeah,
hello,
it's black
Skagit.
bordered. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
but it is definitely Greyhawk.
yeah.
Yep.
Here you go. So you have this entire, and Jeff, I'm not sure if you know about this, but you have the entire Bastion of Evil here. You can change it over, but here, so the appendix Hextor. Good to see you, Skagith. No monks have been harmed today, or I know they should be.
Maybe exactly. Maybe and that's another thing we might touch on monks later. So
we
yeah,
kill
we'll see.
some monks off tonight. There, Skagith.
Yep.
So it's good to see you,
my declassification in my rule system, there are no monks anymore. So Skagith will be happy. The monks are gone.
So here is Hextor, and no, we're talking about religion. We're talking about priests. Priests and Greyhawk organizations. So let's put aside Heronius and Hextor, and then what's the dead brother Stratus, right?
Something. I don't like that name.
No, I hate it.
Yeah, exactly.
Never used it.
Exactly. I never use that name. I will never use it. If I want to use it, I want to rename him because that name is terrible. It's even worse than.
There are fuzz in here. There are. I agree. This is a great book. So within this, you got everything you need for a Hextor-based priest. Now, I'm showing you something that. Here's my caveat to get out of a jail-free card. And I talked to Gary Hullin about this because Bill wanted to play a couple Hextorians. He's got some in my campaign. Alignment LN rare. Okay, well then it could be a player character in a rare instance.
Yeah.
So I've actually given the opportunity to worship some Hextor in a lawful neutral aspect, so that we can have.
And they were parts of Knight Protectors back in the day, and they weren't evil hundreds of years ago.
Exactly. Red Robe Monks. Thanks, BB. Yeah, that's all we need is more Scarlet Brother people running around.
So I think that makes perfect sense to have a lawful neutral aspect of Hextor from back in the day.
I think it does, and that's funny, Skagit. But here's all the be all end all of if you want information on Hextor with the ceremonies, everything's here. Dogma, it's great. It's this book, and also Heronius is in here too.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
it's a wonderful, wonderful book in the second edition. Bruce Cordell, but we know for a fact that Eric Boyd wrote all the specialty priest stuff in here because he said it multiple times. Part of this 2-drink minimum, and you got some even custom spells, including my favorite there, Jeff, Battle Arms, where you'll create a Hextor with a priest with multiple arms that he can utilize all of them. He can have as many as 4 extra and have 6 arms running around. Isn't that cool? So it's really neat. It's a neat thing. So just note that there is a place to go if you want Hextor information outside of what's going on in the history of the Knight Protectors of the Great Kingdom, and you could take it and utilize it.
But you should look into this, and then you should take whatever you want from this, and then you should take whatever you want from Even the Undying,
absolutely,
and stuff.
Yep.
I was going to say I've never owned Bastion of Faith. I still don't think I have it.
Wow!
I bought it as PDF from
everything I know is
Drive-Thru
from Living Greyhawk and Even the Undying.
Which is okay.
Well, but it's great. I love that one, and I've taken a lot of stuff in it when I overhauled my Heronius Hextor thing 10 years ago. When I also I have to give some clout to Rich the Aeola Longitalos for inspiring me to screw up the Hextorian Heronian ones too. Yeah.
Now,
I'm not sure about that sidecar. If you could say Scarlet Brother or Lawful Neutral, that's funny. So, just wanted to share this because I've utilized it a ton, and so much so that Eric Boyd himself plays a half ogre specialty priest of Heronius in the 2-drink minimum group, and when Eric couldn't make it, We had Andrew Valkoskas play an agent of his, Vettel, and then Chuck. Thanks for doing that, John. Thank you. And Chuck has his character Robert de Crayon, who's a Crusader, which Eric Boyd created too, of Heronius. So we got a lot of Heronius going on in the campaign, and they're both great, and they complement each other. Even though they're supposed to be they're mortal enemies, right?
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean you can't utilize them in a fun
weren't
aspect.
always
They weren't
mortal
always,
enemies,
yeah.
and that's the
Yep.
an interesting part to take part of. And I have it that played out as part of the Great Kingdom falling apart. That
It's a good
originally
idea.
they were kind of a duopoly war god, so to speak. They were a pair of brothers that became deities back in Origian old history, and they became the protectors of and the war strength of the Origians and
Yeah,
stuff.
they are
And then it
brothers.
was kind of then it became sanctified in the early Great Kingdom days, and it became the setup for the Knight Protectors and stuff. And then they started to develop into different, the religious organizations started to develop in different paths. And that's when I have it, when the Ivids, when they sold their soul to Asmodeus himself, so to speak, they swore allegiance to hell. And that's when the Heronians, so the Heronius and Hextor are basically taken over as gods by Bahamut and Tiamat. So it became they are now part of the big struggle between good and bad, in good and evil in the world. And on the forefront is Bahamut and Tiamat. So that's big part. So Heronius is now an aspect of Bahamut, and Hextor is an aspect of Tiamat.
Interesting.
And that is kind of it plays out, and it plays out over a setting wide, over centuries, so to speak. It's not something that is going to be settled anytime soon. And they're building strength and campaigning and so on and so forth. But they are now shaping religion around them, so to speak. So Duke Renel is one of the chief Hextorians. He's trying to rebuild his part of it, and Bahamut is through Heronian, through Furiundi, and the Pharaon and those states building alliances there in order to with Paleorians and others, in order to build up the strength and to defeat both Ayus, and then eventually confront whatever comes out of the Great Kingdom of the ones that serve the nine hells, so to speak, or the nine low circles, or whatever they want. I haven't decided on what the terms that will be used, so to speak. And Grenell is the one of the chief troublemakers on the pay list of Asmodeus himself. And
Nice.
Tiamat is the go-between, so to speak. And so those are my kind of thoughts that are the main plots behind, and then there's layers of intermediaries before you hit the actual campaign, so to speak.
Can I do what? I got a beef. Not with you.
Sure, please.
What is a Heronius priest called?
Heronian?
Heronian.
Look, what does that say? Specialty priests. What are they called?
Gloriaxes. Yes.
Where the hell did the X go?
Yeah, and I get it, and I understand.
Thank you.
But yeah, I get it, but I still like the fact that they use swords rather than axes.
No.
Yes, I do. Simply because I wanted the glorification of the knights from that use swords and stuff, and also because I want the dwarves and some of the people from up north and stuff to use axes, like barbarians and so on, to use axes. So.
But once again,
but that's me suffering from too much tradition and night movies.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
right,
I know. It's my bias that and I'm sure I share the same bias as the people during Living Greyhawk days, because I think that's when the axes disappeared from Heronius, and it became the standard knight trope with the sword and a shield. So yeah,
just my minor beef. I know I'm a
no, but I yeah, you're right to have that beef, and
Gloriax is terrible.
No, Mayheen is not Heronius, it's Palor. Mayheen's a deity of Palor.
Exactly. Yeah.
BB,
but
not
I have
not
it
Heronius.
also. Yeah, but I also have it that Mayaheen is a bridge between Heronius and Paelor.
Okay.
She's the love child of both of them, not in literal sense, but in a religious sense, so to speak. She's the one that is the one that both religious institutions love Mayaheen, and they both want to incorporate it and support it, so to speak, and especially in the Shieldlands. But that's more for like they want to build alliances, and that's really important. So both Pelorians and Heronians like to cater to Mayaheens and as for female knights, and it simply to boost numbers of potential soldiers and stuff, so inspire and stuff.
No problem.
So, yeah.
Norker, you're busting my chain, right? Chops. Pelor is one of the most neutral good gods there is in Greyhawk. I mean, Pelor is slaughtering of undead. He's evil. I don't know.
But I also see Paelor as just like with Rao, that they are both part of ancient Flan originally, and then now become in Forunian and Western Erdidum have become the new state builders, meaning the Pelorians and the Heronians and the Raus and Cuthbertians and Mayaheen are now part of that new state building religions, meaning these are religious organizations that want to rebuild a sort of Western Central Flanese society, even together with Elven pantheons and others. They want to, they're the backbone of good Central Flanese, so to speak. But you can take it in different ways. If you want to keep Foltus as a good power that is central to the setting, there is plenty to speak for that, so to speak. Or if you want to, like me, you want to turn him into the lawful evil zealots that overdo things and burn heretics at the stake and stuff like that, then there's material for that too. And that's the cool thing in a setting. You can take things in different directions and play with it.
So we're on Foltus?
That's
Foltus.
Okay,
sure.
so there's a Temple of Foltus in the city of Greyhawk box set.
Yep.
That was such a great antagonist for my players' characters who resided in the foreign quarter, and the little rivalry between them got so intense that my players burnt their temple down.
Nice.
Yeah, but they almost they are kind of they're desperately trying to become villains and
looted and burnt their temple down, and they probably deserved it.
Yep.
So I play Foltus like assholes.
Yeah, if same here. If you want to have a Kafkaesque situation when there's no way out and only problems coming your way, the Foltians are kind of an awesome role model for that
it's
type
my players,
of campaign.
Dave. They're extreme.
If you want to have
Norka, I can't go anything that was done in 3rd edition Living Greyhawk era. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry, because like they killed everyone died. I mean, you look around, there's dead bodies everywhere. So yeah. And plus,
you should cherry pick, and this I think is an area probably even more so than others that you should cherry pick. You should think of what you want with your campaign and then go with it, so to speak, and pick and choose. So but Foltus is interesting.
Foltus campaign story though is I had a player. We started out in the Theocracy of the Pale running the Fright at Trister. I don't know if any of you not that modular.
The only Living Greyhawk published adventure. Published separate.
Really published,
And it's in the Theocracy of the Pale, go figure.
Yeah.
Near the Troll Fens. Anyhow, we played that out, and then my players promptly decided to get out of town because they didn't like the Foltus, atmosphere there.
Is this after the other one when they burned down the temple?
This is a completely different group.
Okay.
Many different groups, but this is one of my longer running ones. Anyhow, one of the players I guess you could say got attached to an NPC. All right. So as a henchman, maybe love interest. And I decided to saddle them with not only the NPC, but their family, who are all Foltus worshippers. So they brought the Foltus with them wherever they went. It was hilarious. Good times.
Yeah. And Foltus is also interesting because it's a religion that was central to the setting in the early products because it was part of Oridian core religious belief, so to speak. But then, thanks to in the Gord books, they are treated not as villains, but kind of bureaucratic misfits up there that
they're
just
treated
cause
like
problems.
they're gonna catch him no matter. It reminded me of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Who
Yeah,
are those guys?
exactly. Yeah,
They track them
One of those
everywhere.
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, so,
yep. And then comes Sargent era, and he really went full kind of Inquisition on them, so to speak, or he made them into Inquisitioners that are just looking for whatever. So he made them almost into religious caricatures. But it's interesting because they fill a niche, I think, in a setting. It's cool to have religious zealots who are not openly demon worshipping and stuff like that, but they are over organizing church and its taxation, and they're civilization builders, but they're overzealots and portrayed in that sense. So I think there's thematic room for someone like that. And it's also interesting that now their base is not part of what used to be the core part of Grey Kingdom. They seem to have the pure Fultians seem to have fled up to the Pale, and instead of staying in the core of the Grey Kingdom. I don't know if there's
zealot religions often do.
Exactly. So yeah.
So I think what Carl and we need to do this and mark this down. Next time Roger Moore's on, we need to ask him about his thoughts on Foltest.
Yes.
I want to know if he was like, you know what, I'm just going to let it be, or my gosh, he went too far with that too. I want to undo that. That's a good one for Roger Moore to ask what
exactly.
Carl Sargent did with Foltest. I have no problem with it, and I think my thought on what he did was, well, we got Palor. Well, we have St. Cuthbert. Foltest
there's
is
a
kind
huge
of redundant.
overlap.
Yeah, Foltest is kind of redundant. Let's change it up a little bit. Well, let's make him lawful neutral, completely unwavering, burning heretics at the stake for fire. You know, that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
What's up, Mike?
But
yeah,
I like that, and from a publishing perspective, I totally understand it. But and the same thing, but I want to see it from an Eden setting perspective, and that is that in large part of used to be Grey Kingdom, Palor outsmarted, meaning that the Palor became more popular than the Fultians.
I don't know if you can blame all this on Sargent. There's a lot written about Foltest in the 83 guide and like zero about Palor.
That's true. Yeah.
So if Sargent did anything, he's just drawn inferences from Gygax material.
Yeah.
Whereas Palor is just really got no development until what, 3rd edition?
Yeah.
Practically.
Yeah. Then
one?
all of a sudden he come. Yeah,
Palor.
Palor was
kind of just a little sidebar
generic.
that has some special magic. Has some great magic items in the Greyhawk Adventures book, right? Yeah. You know, and we didn't really get into Palor worshipping until that time, until late 90s, early 2000s, we started using Palor more.
Yeah, he's one of them great
gods. Away. Like when we started, it was all. This is before after 1980. So we're gonna say after deities and demigods, Greyhawk deities. It was either Alana for us, Saint Cuthbert, and then once Tritherion came out, which Tritherion disappears in 5th edition. Strange, right? All the writings of Tritherion disappear.
It's sad.
Which is really sad.
That's one of the really underused gods that I think is really cool.
What happened was in 3rd edition, St. Cuthbert absorbed Tritherion's portfolio.
Which is interesting because Tritherion is the most chaotic god of all the ones that on the good side, and Cuthbert is the most lawful one. So to me, it's very weird because Tritherion was more about standing up for individual rights rather than common good, so to speak, in that sense.
Yeah, and that did not go unnoticed in my campaigns.
Yeah, same here. I want to revive Tritherion and give him some more clout. So he plays a minor role in my redo. He's part of the common faith, so to speak. And hang on a second. Tritherion, was he? Let's see. Was he part of? What do we know where he comes from? Common. Is he Old Flan or Oridian? Oridian?
I thought he was Oridian. Common? Okay.
He's common. Yeah, he's common. But that means that does he have any? Is it a newcomer to this, or does he have an old old pre thing? Yeah. Let's see here.
if you want, and also there are some great stories of Tritherion in this, which is why I think it got some great traction for this and Jandazer in here. There's an entire block in Greyhawk that's Tritherion, fit right into my campaign I was running in the Free City of Greyhawk. They actually have the gongs going off at certain times of the day, and it drives everyone else in the area crazy of that area of the block. It's some neat stuff. Plus, the Tritherion Foltis thing is starts here, because Sergeant's writing part of this, right? Starts here a little bit, the antithesis, and then it gets really full bore. Where Tritherion worshippers hate Fultians as much as they hate Iusians, which is really saying something. So you got to really, there's some enmity there, which
And while we're talking about Tritherion, I play them as I've had a group that I've written about extensively from Parentland that are bounty hunters, worshippers of Parentland.
Tritherians.
Talk about relentlessly hunting people down.
I love that. I love, and the rune of pursuit is his symbol, so it makes total sense. Yeah, Tritherian's our most popular chaotic good deity in the campaign.
Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. He is very should be used way more, so to speak.
And speaking on religions, in the writing in the 83 box set, Tritherion priests are able to. It says that I don't know at what level it is, but let's say the mid-level guys can use spears because Tritherion's weapon is a spear, and then the high priests can use swords, which in AD&D in AD&D that's huge because of blunt weapons.
Gosh, I don't know if I can find this article. Oh man, so there is a great. I have it here, and I'll show it. Our Brits created a wonderful knight class based on Tritherion that we are utilizing now. It's in playtest. All right, and I forget which one. Someone help me. Here it is. The Knights of the Chase.
Yeah.
Champions of Vengeance, and this is by Creighton Broadhurst. I mean, So it's fantastic. Bill, the Master Crafter, said, I want to play a knight, because we have a knight class, right? It's kind of a hybrid paladin / priest almost. He wanted to play one, so I added it in, and you'll see him tomorrow night, as a matter of fact, in the new Harvey group. He has a Knight of the Chase. It's a really cool concept, taking Tritherion a little further.
But he also seems to not have deep roots. He seems to be common, just like Mayaheen or Cuthbert might be a god of very recent, not an ancient Flan or ancient Iridian. It might be like Cuthbert or Mayaheen, a god that have come fairly recently, like the last 500 years or so. So it's part of the common pantheon and not part of the ancient Flan or Iridian or Bacluni or any of that. So
Tritherion is a dog person, which I like a lot.
Yeah. Knights of the Chase, I get hounds.
Yeah. Pick up that Hounds of Greyhawk.
That's a cool.
And attach some neat dog breeds to your clay.
Yeah.
We actually have. You'll see he has a hound, and Bill's actually painted the miniatures for it.
Oh, cool.
It's a summoning ability.
Yeah, underused. There's more room for Tritherion in the Greyhawk setting, definitely. Yeah.
Norka, you're putting out stuff. I have no idea who Roofdrack is. I'm sorry.
Me neither. Roofdrack, I have no idea. So,
you got me again.
I'm going to search for it and see if we got a roof.
See, Nicholas. Yeah. In my 3.5 homebrew world, I placed a paladin class of a knight. That's cool. Dark Elf, and like I said, man, customization.
I got one hit in Dragon 54.
Melnibonian. Oh, okay.
So I'm going to open and see here if we got a roof drac.
Got for paladin, like the Lords of Chaos.
Drac.
Namoon the Hound, yes, and so Bill's character has a hound.
Roof Drac. There is the deities of the Forgotten Realms.
He's the beast guy from Elric stuff.
Yeah, it's the Forgotten Realms. Good god, so we can skip him. So good. Yep. He's specifically listed as a Forgotten Realms. Yep.
Great guy. Hey, you all know I've added gods to my game.
Oh yeah, so you can add him, but he's not.
Yeah, He's not FR. He's
He was listed as a Forgotten Realms god in Dragon
Yep.
number 54. That's the only reference
Hey,
I can
Stronghold,
find.
good to see you. It's great to see you on this
Okay,
discussion
yeah.
on deities, religion.
Okay.
This may help you for your homebrew. You know,
Mhm.
please stick around. So,
Yep.
and by the way, we're still 2 followers away from 10,000. 2.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
9998. I don't think religion is the right word. No, you're probably right. You're probably right. Cults, or religious organizations. You're. Well, there's a cult I want to talk about. Trying to religion would also be pantheon. Favorite pantheons of Greyhawk. Pantheons of Greyhawk is a little bit different though terminology. I think we should have probably put this as religious organizations as the term, spreading it out a little bit more there, Mattias. I think that's better. Yep, Ebon Triad. Well, Ebon Triad's in Age of Worms, and that was an Eric Mona idea. Right, he said he wanted to get away from IUs being. He talked about it. We just had Eric on talking about the very first on a Gabbin, the very first Age of Worms thing, and he explained what the Ebon Triad was all about and how the cabal of those three put together to form this power. It was really a cool concept. I mean, Eric's always done wonderful stuff.
I guess speaking on pantheons, I like to, like Anna was referring to earlier, I like to do thematic ones. So, like, I have the pantheon of the high seas, my mythos of the high seas. You know, I lump in Procan and Zerbo and Osprey, and just throw them all in there. I don't care what their backgrounds are usually, because they all interact anyways. If you're out there on the high seas, you're probably going to, at least pay some respect to all of them.
Just to play it safe. At least all the ones you know about, so to speak.
And then, like, thematically, you could lump all the weather gods together. The Four Winds, Procan again. Etc.
What's up, Gary?
And I think you're tying into something else that I think is really important in this aspect, is that I think for a lot of people, the religion, people that live in the Greyhawk setting, their worship is probably much more transactional. That it's not like I belong to a church and I always pray to that god, whatever, so to speak. I think it's more like, okay, if I'm a person that a ship captain or a sailor or something, then of course I use these gods and I pray to them and seek their help and guidance, because that part of my profession and survive life. But if I want to purchase a new ship or repair it, I might go to the Silchus ones and ask for money or something. So I can see that religion is more than what we see religion in the real world. It's more like certain gods have monopolized certain part of the world, meaning people that do trade and stuff. Silchus are the gods for banking, financing, and selling and buying goods and stuff, and so on. So it's more like a practical. A lot of merchants, it's not that they have faith. It's more like the Silchus priests are the ones sitting on the infrastructure, both when it comes to payment systems and places to do the actual buying and selling of goods and stuff. Marketplaces and stuff are simply done. And I can have, like in big cities, the Silchus temple is not a temple where you go and pray. It's a place where you set up a stand and sell stuff or buy stuff. And so it's more like they have little monopolies, and then they pay a handsome fee to the ruler in order to keep that we are the ones that organize this stuff and finance it and protect it and all that. So I can see you can run religion in a different way, and then you can have other religions that are very much up for faith, but some religions should probably not have much to do with faith at all. It's more practicalities.
So cults, right? Let's go on. Let's talk about
Curtis.
Let's talk about one. So Curtis came across this, and also Justinius, you were in that. Was Michael? Were you in this one? I was at the when I ran a Delve into the Lord's Tomb. They came across the cult of the Shriven Sickle, which is in here. So, and this is a specific group. We want to talk about how bad thing. Whoop! Went by him too much because I am searching and I should have it set. But a Nerol cult functioning underneath the city of Greyhawk is a cool thing, and they tangled with the cult. The cult was a little bit incompetent, right, in that adventure. In fact, one of them released the. Since I'm not going to run that one again ever, I can say someone released the Juggernaut. Mike, you ran that one. In that one, those are the first ones I streamed on this.
I was going to say it's been a very long time ago, but I wrote about Andrade Mirius, who is that cult of the Shriven Sickle.
Yeah.
yeah.
I gotta find them. My
And
gosh.
he was in one of my 2E campaigns. He was devastatingly effective.
They're really nasty. There it is. Cult of the Shriven Sickle.
Let's just say my friends who are prone to doing heinous acts, I actually framed them for a heinous act that he committed. So that's how well that played out. I got the players exiled from the city of Greyhawk. So good times.
Good times. That's why I love this box set. And look, the cult even has goals here, so you can take you can take this cult here: slaying knights, disgracing good, slaying good, espionage, disrupting Greyhawk, making money. So it's like, and here are some of them. Now I used other members in this. I didn't kill any named PCs. I used different characters. But yeah, so the Cult of the Shriven Sickle is right here, and it talks about their intentions. And this is, once again, get it away from Ayu's being the bad guy everywhere. Laser, thank you. A good, and also you have a 3-stage version, correct? The Grand Leaders and Mike in 3-stage, and they're down here at the end. So if I can find them, of course, they give you leveled up nasties, including a Rennie Tyrant and the leader of the Cult of the Shriven Sickle are in here. Some nice stuff. But Ayu's is everywhere.
Bad guys? No.
Is Ayu's everywhere? I don't know. So here we go. Here we go. Here's the 3-stage. So that's a curse. Here's Rennie Tyrant, but here's the first one, Aspiring Young Rennie, and then we go here. Andrade Mirius. There he is, right? Patriarch of Nerol. He goes from 11th,
probably after
14th to 18th. Yep.
After Igwilv and Eli Tomarest, he's probably my third favorite villain.
He's your third favorite villain of Greyhawk. That's cool. Yep.
That I've used.
Very cool. Ayu's is regional. I agree, Gary. Ayu's is regional, not everywhere. Scarlet Brotherhood's not everywhere. Sorry, everyone. Right, Mike? No Sea Princes. Keep them out of my Sea Princes. Keep them off.
I agree. They stretch them way too far.
That far, there's trouble.
Except for that one priest of Ayu's in Salt Marsh wants to open a fish and chips shop.
That guy's doing it right.
You can yell at Wolfgang. Whoever wrote that part in.
He oversaw it. He didn't write it.
Isn't that person, what do you call it, a tiefling too?
That might be. I'm not sure.
Hey,
Hexer's always around, Scott Chef. I agree that Hexer's always around.
That should open up IUs for writing on DM's Guild, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, I think he's kosher now. Yeah.
IU's franchise
right?
evil. I usually take on Farling in a campaign of mine. They had mostly small shrines as wasted. Yes, for their nomadic priests. But there was at least one medieval style hospital. Not the way we think of them, more similar to a hostel with a rotating staff. Darko, I think that's a great idea. I think that's cool. I mean, having a way station somewhere off the beaten path. Oh, dude, thank you. That was really kind, Stronghold. Thank you so very much. Hopefully everything's going really well in your game too. I really appreciate the support. So, yeah, we will take your soul fish and chip. Everyone, Mike, you ran Ghost of Saltmarsh, right? What'd you do with that
I ran
guy?
it a couple times.
What'd you do with him?
With the IUs?
Yeah, you just let him just sell stuff. There, right?
Ghost of Saltmarsh. I thought you were talking about Saltmarsh.
Yeah.
In general, no. No, didn't use it.
Okay.
Or maybe I did use it one time, but it never came back into play because we're too busy running the modules to actually do any side stuff
in there. So, someone throw in 100 or something and get this hype going here, if you don't mind. I do it myself, but I can't. So, Anna, your thoughts on some evil stuff? Now we got some neural. Thanks, Farrell. Thank you.
The first I wanted to do with my when I overhauled my thinking on Relgiion was that I wanted to figure out where the gods get their power from, and so the way I devised it is that if people trust and worship and hold hold the god holy, so
I
to
agree,
speak,
Gary.
meaning they trust the god and seek guidance and stuff. That gives the god power, but also by fear. If you go around making people scared of you, that gives you power. And so gods can choose one, or some of them choose both ways, and some of them go the fear way, so to speak. So that makes all the incentive for a god to start, and demon lords and other and devils and stuff are also gods in my campaign. So there is every incentive for various nefarious deities to start cults, and to simply have to hire some people, or persuade them, or force them, or curse them, or in whatever way possible, get them to go around and do mayhem in your name, to spread the fear of you, so to speak. And that's what Nerul and Incobulus and various other demon lords and stuff are doing, in order to, they want to spread fear of, so people are scared of them. That's the main goal with a cult. So they have the incentive, and then they are willing to bribe or coerce or threaten or bully certain people to become cult members and priests and stuff of the and sometimes they have direct pacts with individuals, powerful individuals, in order to so they become from witches to night hags, to all sorts of stuff, and they get what I call pact magic. They give them direct magic and other abilities, and that's my kind of basis for cults. And then I've invented and tweaked a bunch of cults, and especially tweaked cults that are already in the game, but I want to formalize them a little bit more, and put more rules and stuff in there a little bit. So that's my basic idea of how cults function, so to speak.
So
and why they're there.
you and Mike come up with what do you want to talk about next, organization wise or religion wise?
Tell you what I won't talk about.
Go for it.
I was telling some of the guys the other night, I will not be talking about the cult of Thurisdan.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just goes around in circles.
So there you go.
Because we just, and we're not going to have the Elder Elemental God, Thursden, all that discussion tonight. Because Thursden is just, it's evil. Evil manifested. Evil's everywhere, right? So, thank you.
The other thing I would mention about IUs, besides being obvious villains that I've used in several campaigns, is I like the detail in the 83 guide. That book is so good. You just got to go back and read it. Every time I read it, it's amazing, because it talks about the ceremonies, it talks about the vestments.
Yep.
And sometimes it'll talk about the different ranks within the organized religion. So like with IUs, I love that they wear black robes like you would expect an evil guy to do. But then they also sometimes wear white robes, but splattered in blood, which I think was awesome. Which is what I would prefer.
Because you want to see it.
Much more intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. What do you want to talk about, though?
I
think now we touched on cults, I want to go into the flan. We touched so much about Origin and Common and stuff. Now I think it's time to dig into flan a bit.
Okay. Sure.
Because they're also an intricate part of the setting. They were the kind of original inhabitants. Some of their gods and stuff have shaped the setting, but they're still in the sidelines, and there's also a lot of mystery and a lot of things that aren't tweaked either in rules or in lore, but hinted at, so to speak. It's always been there, it's always mentioned, but it's not detailed, and it's certainly not detailed enough that you get the whole picture. So you have to kind of put together the pieces of the puzzle into whatever you want it to be. Meaning we have, go back in history, you have the Urflan, where it talked about evil, diabolic or demonic cults and stuff like that in the Urflan. And then we have various names from like Tharistun. Let's leave him out of the discussion for now, so to speak. And we can, but then you have other interesting names. Suktmoy. We have Gedast. We have all the demon lords we know of from exactly various cults and stuff. And I think there's some cool connections to be made here. And we also have ancient witch kings and lich kings and stuff like that that seems to hail from the same era, the era prior to migration, before written history, where we only have part of that ancient
Bureaucracies,
prehistory. Like on Earth, if you go back
magic
4,000
books.
years, things start to be blurry, and we have little names and the occasional ruin somewhere and stuff like that. So and I think it's cool because that means that you can build your own version of the prehistory, and then you can tie it. Either you can just ignore it, you can build a version you want, and then you can tie it in either tightly or just add some speck of flavor here and there. And you have names like a Serarak, Kna, and others who came from more or less from the old days then, and you can build others even before then if you want to. And that I think is really cool. And then you have other Beery, Ubadhai, and stuff that ties into it, into more modern old faith. And so for me, that is a part that is really just like Tritherion. It's underutilized. There is a lot of room for campaign creation and world building in that area.
Well, I'd have to say, but in practicality and campaigns that I've ran, my favorite campaigns, Palor is the only one we've really used of any capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that is, again, because there was such a dearth of information on them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, the demon cults or anything you want to associate with Flan, that's fine. But Palor, once again, a lot of my knowledge of Palor came from the City Grok box set.
Yeah.
And in that sense, Palor is like super
Thanks.
rich, right? They have the biggest temple in the city, I believe.
Yeah. And the highest and super high level.
Yeah. So it's no surprise. One of my friends who made a priest of Palor becomes this big money grubbing cleric who, is just, he's playing it like a televangelist. He's raking in all this money and wanting to start his own temple so he can get more money. And we joked that he was saving up all the gold to make a statue of himself.
That's awesome.
Out of gold.
Yeah, but you also have Pelor is the god of summer, and Nerul was the god of winter in the old Flan. And Alitur was either the spring or the fall, I forgot which. So you had 4 gods that were each the seasons, and Pelor was the summer god, and Nerul was the winter god, and someone can probably find in chat the other two.
Where's that from?
It's from somewhere, and I know I read it somewhere. I'm not sure if it's
a Backlunish god, isn't it? Correct, Jose? Because it's Flan god.
Yes, exactly. They're all Flan gods. So yep.
Anna, is there Greyhawk religious heraldry?
And to some degree, yes. There have been various forms of religious symbols. And I've turned some of them into heraldry, and I intend to do more of it, so to speak. So yeah. So now I need to we have religion and stuff here. In a second.
Not a Flan god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Religion and
Vecna was Flan.
Right.
Maybe Vecna's people, his followers back in the past were Flan, but present day cult, probably not. They moved on.
Yeah.
I'd say, cynically, Sewell would be gravitate more towards Vecna worshiping.
I probably would
fight me on that one, Rich.
Yeah, I would agree with you at that point. But isn't Vecna pre-invoked devastation, or is that right after it?
Vecna is somewhere. Hang on a second. I need to go in. I have the history of Vecna here.
Deified Vecna is definitely post.
Yeah, but I'm saying Vecna existing.
Yeah,
let's
I'd
go
say
into
contemporary with the migrations. Contemporary.
Roughly contemporary. And hang on a second here. I need to go in. Yeah.
It's and I know this drove. I'm gonna invoke Jason's vote crazy. Where especially he did this with Asarak and all of them. He's like, leave our bad, vile mega villains alone and don't turn them all into gods, right? And that's kind of like the tendency is to take a good thing and then run with it and run with it and run with it till you've overrun with it. I think that's where Vecna's gotten to be, and for me, it's just publication. Yeah.
Publication-wise, he's almost overused, so to speak, in some sense. But I think there's still a lot of cool stuff you can do with him in setting. So yeah,
Absolutely.
when it comes to the Greyhawk part, you can definitely. And it's kind of interesting. He's one of the Greyhawk deities, and I'm not even sure if it started out as a Greyhawk deity or if he just got shoehorned in like a Serarak. Serarak, I think, was a Tomb of Horrors thing, and Tomb of Horrors.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, Sarak's not a deity. Sarak was a demi-lich.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying Vecna might have had the same story. Maybe he was invented somewhere else and then was shoehorned into the setting. I'm not really sure about that. So that's but Vecna kind of escaped the Greyhawk setting.
Like God is the whole point of the Vecna Lives module. If Vecna wins, he is the overgod.
Right. Exactly. True.
He doesn't win, but in later products, then he slowly ascends the ladder.
Yeah, and I guess Vecna was in some sense in Greyhawk because I guess the original source of him is the Hand and Eye in the DM first edition Dungeon Master's Guide. So that makes him Greyhawk per se, so to speak, I guess. Yeah.
So, but that's not Old Faith.
I have him as Old Faith, but I don't think he is specifically mentioned as Old Faith. No,
he
but I have him as
Old Faith deity, though. He should
be the devil of.
Exactly. I don't have exactly. I don't have Vecna as a deity as Old Faith, but I have Vecna himself in he was Old Flan, or when he grew up as Flan, so to speak. So he comes from Flan culture, but he's not old. He's not Old Faith. No.
I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here.
No, but I
don't know what Earthland even means. What does that mean, Earthland?
Earthland. That is to me. That is the. I think it's simply they loved to use terms of things when it was old, like Nevon and things have old names before they became modern names, and I like that idea. So I have the Urflan is simply either that's what the Flan used to call themselves. That could be one way of looking at it. The other way is that might be a term that was invented by Great Kingdom scholars who looked into the story, and I even have that the Old Faith might simply be a term that Great Kingdom used in order to be derogatory. That's the Old Faith.
I don't
calling themselves by their culture.
Iridian scholars. There, Gary just said it. The Earthland is a neologism created by Iridian scholars. I don't remember that term before 2000. That's what I'm trying to say. Is when did that become in vogue?
Which is when we started to get.
My guess is that it's been around quite a bit. So my guess maybe
no Flan history probably before Rary the Traitor was published.
Exactly, it's like so many things in Greyhawk. It grew gradually over the run of the setting.
It looks like it was a Sargenism. It's in Evidian dying, so it must have been a Sargenism. I want to know where.
I like the term, so to speak. I really do.
Primitive. See, I understand, Norka. Means primitive. The Flan a long time ago. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's the
Flan people were.
Which in this case is a misnomer then, because the Flan are more powerful and advanced than the.
So Troy
and the word ur that comes from a Germanic word, Germanic word that is used both in German, Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish. Ursprung. That means that where you come from. So I can understand why Carl Sargent chose the term, so to speak. So it's in Swedish it's still called ursprung. It's the word where you come from, so to speak. So that's where I think the term ur is mentioned from. And Ur was also the name. I'm not sure if that was the name originally, but Ur is the oldest city and one of the oldest cities in the world in what was Mesopotamia back in the day, the city of Ur, and that might be where it came from originally. The term Ur.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ancient. That's fine. Gygax never used it. Thank you, Gary. Gygax never used the term Earthland. It was a creation later on.
Yeah.
I just don't
like that. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, Aquaman is now Vampire Thermal now officially worships Aquaman because I said so. So even Len makes a mistake once in a blue moon. There you
Yeah.
go, Rick.
But Jay, I think it's important to both look at how things evolved in publication history.
True.
Do we know how it comes? That's one interesting aspect. And then we have to look at it, how it's treated in setting lore.
Right.
And then
right.
thirdly,
Yeah.
each of us, when we run the campaign, have to figure out how much of it do we want to use and in what capacity, so to speak. So I think each of these aspects are interesting to look at.
Right.
From
Gary, that's why Flan it's like I don't want to be that guy, but that's like calling Native Americans Indians. I'm sorry, that's exactly what it is. It's just like it's in a modern term. It's like you know, that's not the right thing. But the Iridians are calling them all Flan, right? All the different tribes
they inhabited.
They call them Flan. All right, and that and that.
And I think the term
of that continent
was
Yeah,
correct.
and I see that
or Flan.
It's like saying European.
Yeah,
So.
Caraptus is interesting in that sense because he and I have both Caraptus. You have what's the guy with the worms? Cayuse. I have them both being old Flan things that have kind
Cayuse
of
is from Sol. He's from Sol.
Yeah. I have them as old Flan stuff that has, thanks to being so vile, that their reputation have lingered on into modern times, so to speak.
Okay.
And then we have the interesting, and now we'll tie into Rob Kuntz a little bit, because and Druidism and Druidism is interesting because Druidism started as a class and had more of a mechanic aspect of the game, not as a lore thing, so to speak. Druid became a class and had more mechanics, and then it gradually took on a little bit of a lore flair, so to speak, through the game, the evolution of the game, but it hasn't really formalized as a religion or any of that. So there seems to be very vague and contradicting ideas of what the role of Druidism is in the setting. And I've fallen into it that I've adopted Druidism as a Flan cultural phenomena, so to speak.
That's probably why I don't do much with Flan religions, because I've never had anyone pursue Druids in my campaigns.
So,
I may not have been on the wrong trail, Anna, but just with the wrong deities, right trail, wrong deities. So in mine, especially in the Vestvi, I went to the old Celtic deities that are in there, Serenus, you know, instead.
That makes sense, because they were the original Druidites, Druidites or Druidic, so to speak.
Right, and they're neutral with that little tinge of evil, because they're not tolerant of those that are in a low. You know, they, instead of throwing them out of the forest, they're just gonna melt you in the forest.
So where do you put Beori and what's the Obadhai? Those are the kind of that been traditionally put together with Druidism.
So we had Obadhai as the ancient, and we have that one. We have one Druid. She's the specialty. Obadiah was the kind of the lost faith in the Vestvi, where we have the Obadiah Druid. She's the one that knows the power of the tattoo magic. So she's actually able to tattoo, use those special abilities, and we got that from the Relics and Rituals books from 3rd edition, which we liked a lot, and trying to make it make sense, because once again I wanted to limit in my Vestvi campaign. I wanted to limit it to four Druidic deities: Serenus, neutral with a little bit evil, and I stole Malar from Forgotten Realms and turned that into the Master of the Hunt, which is, you know, that wonderful story in Deities and Demigods, because we're still using Deities and Demigods always. And then I have Alana, and I have for the Sylvanels, Rilafane, Ralphil, and they're the four. I want to limit it to 4. And Obadiah is like the one that none of the player characters would take, but was there and was even older than that, you know. And that's kind of how we explained it. Just, and I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I'm just saying that's what we.
No, but I don't think there is a right and wrong in this. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's that I think this is something that you have to weave your own version out of the little puzzle or put together the puzzle, because there's a lot of bits laying around in all the books over the years, but there's no one that puzzled it all together, so to speak. And I think you can fit them together in different ways depending on what you want. And then you have the dark druids that Rob Kuntz introduced
I love
too,
that.
and that add another puzzle bits to it. Yeah,
love it. So somehow, Tim Enoch, you're raiding in. He must have figured out.
Oh, that's
how to do
awesome.
it. Yeah.
Yep.
You can do
Thank
it.
you so much for yesterday. Yep.
Yeah, you can always throw that
Yeah.
in there.
Mhm.
So thank.
But it's. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, go for it.
I was going to say it's interesting. We have the Flan gods like Beori, Ubadai, and the several Rao and Palor and stuff, and then we have Druidism that is presented both as a class and kind of a cultural phenomena in the setting. And then we have the Urflan that was introduced by Carl Sargent, and they mention all demonic cults and stuff. And then we have the Dark Druids that was kind of put in as a concept by Rob Kuntz, and they're kind of an anti-nature priests in anti-druids in a sense. And then you have other things that are hinted to be part of that old faith sphere or Flan sphere, where you have Horn Society, you have some of the Nerul is part of that, and so on. So there, I think there's a lot of bits and pieces to play with here, and I think that's super interesting.
You can raid in. You can raid in without streaming. A lot of people don't know that. So you can actually get a group of people together right on your own Twitch and then raid in when you're not even streaming. That's pretty interesting there, Tim Enoch. Just so you're aware. So it's all good. I mean, a lot of our discussion is theoretical, right? Which is cool.
Mhm.
The old faith
Yep.
is amorphous because you can make it into anything you want, and it's really neat to put in some of those other aspects. And I think, and by the way, Rob Kuntz is coming back a week from Saturday. So, and we'll talk about that at the end if you don't know that already. But we'll have Rob back on, and within 2 days we'll have Rob Kuntz, Jim Ward, Jeff Grubb, and Ed Greenwood on.
Yep.
In that 48-hour period. 20. Yeah. So. Yeah.
I think Scottish Jeff has a good point that you can make Druidism into something more than just the mechanic stuff, so to speak.
Sure.
And now that's what I did for my Shieldlands campaign. I really dug deep into and started thinking. I wrote a blog post a couple of years ago of Flan or Greyhawk from the Flan perspective, and started to think about it and from that perspective, and that opened up. So now Druidism is a kind of old faith, this kind of a pantheon of the Flan, so to speak. And the term old faith is something that the Great Kingdom used in order to make them pagans, so to speak. It was an expression created in order to make them be like the old and stuff. So you should abandon it. Exactly, and what the Christians call the pagans and the Muslims call the infidels and stuff. A derogatory word invented for the ones that don't belong to us, so to speak, and our faith. And that was so that was the thing. But it also a kind of an umbrella. It's not a coherent thing and it also something that evolved in itself. So I looked at it. First you have some of the core beliefs, like some of the big core gods, like Poltus for the good and the light, and Nerul for the dark and evil. That's one thing. But then I realized that then you can have a dark side to the religion itself. And that came to be both in order to use as protection and also to use as a weapon. And that's where I wanted to put things like Vecna is what you have the old witch doctors and the liches and stuff like that from old Flandom. They use godly power to embrace and to create and stuff. So you have Orcus was one, and that complement even worse than Nerul, so to speak. And then you have Erythnul and others coming from the part. And then you have Gerast for lust and stuff like that. And so you have various of these cults that, and Zuktmoy was one for decay, the opposite of growth and vitality. Nature is decay and stuff in nature. And Beori for the good side of things, when you want your field fertilized and you want to make sure you have kids and stuff like that. You have Beori, and Ubadhai more for kind of general keep your people in faith and order. A bit like Cuthbert, but back in old Flandom. So I wanted to have that. That's a whole pantheon of stuff, and the dark druids. That just the dark side of the faith. That is basically something that the Flan, when shit hit the fan really bad, then you can call in these things in order to send a message to the enemy. And so the Flan had a cult, the Horned Ones, that basically were the ones that were outcast from society, but they still had a purpose. So they were the criminals. You can let them live out there, and then you can pray to them to come and save you if need be. So they could still be part of society, but they serve as a kind of an outcast, and a sort of even the worst scum of society had a purpose, and they can belong to that, so to speak, in a place. And sometimes they probably made sure they were needed, but after the migration and the Relgiions and others came in, that meant that they had more or less a permanent place in the stuff. And that's probably why a lot of Relgiions thought that the Flan were the worst scum that anyone ever invented, because what they saw was probably some of the worst things that the Flan could come up with. And we have the Abyssal Maw that were trying to invite and go and level Rossies. We had the Death Knights. I see them also as a ploy and a plot from old Flan and Dark Druids and the Dark Faith as a way of trying to unsettle the Great Kingdom, and they kind of succeeded at the end. So that's my take on them as a religion, so to speak. It's a cultural war, so to speak, that a religious war that has gone on for 1,000 years now, at least almost 1,000 years, so something around 1,000 years. And yeah.
So David brought up something, and I want to go here because I don't know if this deity, if I'm wrong, tell me if this deity was ever developed. And we're going to go to N1 Cult of the Reptile God.
Oh,
there's a deity in there. The Temple of Marika.
Yeah.
Right. Created by Doug Niles, which is kind of like the deity of harvests, correct? So, and I know we were talking about some people may pray to the old faith, but this is smack dab in the middle of Grand March. This Temple of Marika. So, was Marika developed anywhere in any other publication beyond this?
No, I think it came from there and
it stayed here.
Stayed there.
Old school first edition.
Yep.
That's a shame. Because it sounds like he was on this. He was onto something.
I think because the adventure was probably not originally set in Greyhawk; it was shoehorned in afterwards.
Oh, okay.
That's my guess.
Hopefully, we'll have Doug Niles on to ask him. I'm working on that still. So, because it seemed like it was an interesting concept.
Yeah, and then Eric and Gary made her one of the prisoners. So she was integrated afterwards. Yes, but
that's cool.
She's not mentioned before. Yeah.
Very cool to hear that, Gary.
So I think it's cool. And now I want to ask Eric where she belongs in the pantheons of things. I wanted to put her in among the Flan gods, but I might be wrong. Yep. In that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, if we get Doug on, we'll ask him. Right, that's the key in here, and this is such a fantastic adventure, everyone. If you haven't,
it's a good one.
Run it against Cult of the Reptile God N1, but I just know, that deity exists in this adventure only, and is a deity of the harvest, with good aligned. So yeah, all right.
Yep.
All right, cool.
I've never used.
Never used
I
the adventure.
Don't even think I used Marika in my Greyhawk comic, which was about
how do you know that, BB? Is it say it in there? I didn't see it.
Oh, it's Orid. Thank you.
Yeah. No. Well.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Marika is the Iridian demigoddess of agriculture, farming,
Perfect.
and home. All right, there you go.
Yep.
It's a bag of grain and a long scroll. All right. So that wasn't crazy.
She fits in with the weather god.
I love. I think it's a perfect.
Thank you, thank you, Gary. This is awesome. Yep.
Yep. Going to run it, but 30 years to see what sentence says. Yeah. She is in a living girl gazetteer. Oh, so you guys have her.
Oh yeah, she's integrated into. Oh yeah,
okay, well, that's
she
great.
got a life. So
yep, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. All right, I'm not completely nuts.
Yep.
I always called her. Hey, good to see you, Mike. It's been a while. I always called her America. That's all right.
America.
Yeah. There's little tidbits like that get picked back up years later by someone like Gary and Eric Mona. It's like, hey, we got to put this in. We got to put this deity in.
Yep.
So So, thank you. She represents the other face of motherhood from Stern Alley. Okay.
Oh, good.
That's cool. All right, Mike. We'll hit back with the old faith. I'm guaranteed in the last we got 20 minutes, which is cool. What do you got?
So probably the deity that has got most use in my campaigns that hasn't been talked about is Ola Damara.
Yeah, the front and the rogue.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
minstrel.
Just he fills so many good niches there. On like in the dungeon, out of the dungeon,
Bard.
and everything in between. He's a good deity. If you're not a cleric, and you're a rogue or whatever, or a bard. Yeah, he's someone that you can say that's my patron deity. I've always liked
Mm-hmm.
that organizational structure. I also like that it's kind of a loose thing. Like I don't really think he has major temples.
It's more
Maybe
like a
more like
spirit
shrines.
than an organized religion, and more like
Right.
a way of a guide to not
way of
care too
living.
much.
Um,
Lift the spirits and
Yeah, so like one of my most recent campaigns, they hired a cleric, rather than played a cleric. So their hired cleric was a cleric of Ola Damara. Of course, I made him useless. A useless drunk who, they ended up
Good.
like buying him out. They retired him. They're like, okay, you've gone far enough. You stay here, and then they picked up a different cleric.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Bargs and roads.
that's awesome. Yeah.
Bargs, roads, and travelers, isn't it? Isn't he a traveler too?
Let's see, rogues, wine, and revelry.
Yeah, well,
The
Mhm.
music.
Oh yeah, it's a god of entertainment. Have fun
Definitely a bard
and
guy.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Oberon, Norbro. Yeah, the Lenism's way out there. I'm going to change Marika's alignment from lawful.
There's also Ola Damara's dice.
Oh.
Magic
Oh,
item.
that is awesome. Greyhawk dice.
That was a 3rd edition thing. You roll the dice. It's sort of like a
Oh.
low-powered deck of many things.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Patrick, good to see you. If you really want like offbeat stuff too, you had Len Kafka in Bone Hill took Norbo and made the Church of the Big Gamble, right? The Big Gamble's in there, and that was so cool back then. I was like, that was one of the reasons I fell in love with that. I was like, this is above and beyond because you got the dice rolling game in there too. So, and that's right in L1. Really was neat. I'm just looking through some of my.
Yeah, I think between Noribo and Rudd and Ralishaz, you could have a real big gambling pantheon.
Oh, absolutely. And then you could have Relgiions for real bad luck, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Because
You want
when
the
you're
god of-
when you're
the
hot,
god of
it's
bad-
Noribo. When you're not, it's Ralishaz.
Yes. And we all know Eric Mona's Veneer
Oh,
for
that
the
is
best,
so-
the best
yeah, mhm.
played character ever in the campaign.
Mhm.
There's Relgiions, very not very attractive, and yeah, the god of bad luck. So I know cult wise, if we're gonna go to individual gods, I mean, my favorite of all time, and which is just so vile, is of course Wastri, right? A god to the actual prime material plane, right? Like Ayus, he's bound to the
Mhm.
prime material, and he's out in the hammer of demi-humans, which just makes me yes, of course, Chet, and that whole Horror in the Hools is based on the whole first part's based on a Wastri priest. So yeah. Really a cool deity that it just seemed to go by the wayside. Didn't get a lot of love until later on. And there's a ton of them. There's a ton of deities that are out there that were Greyhawk based. We haven't gotten to Quasi. We did Quasis on a different show. We can always talk about them. But like another deity that is like really rarely used, but I think is really cool. And I don't know if I pronounce this right. It's Falcon. That was our Len deity, right? The god of the air and archery. I like this deity a lot. I actually have a specialty priest class written up for this one, and they can only use daggers and melee, which is really weird. But yeah, another Len-ism there. But it was a neat. I think he's the father of Cord the Brawler too. Yeah, some cool stuff. Wingfolk were the Alcaric Ilam, which were placed. They never specifically were in Greyhawk, but they always had a Greyhawk feel to them. Eric Cochran and them both, yeah. But my Wingfolk got horribly tortured all the time in the game, so All right, so what else are we going to discuss here in the final 15, 20 here? What we got?
Do we have any Reni religion?
Water
Nope.
Lion, no
They
followers
are
of cult.
non-religious.
What's up with
Okay.
that one? Do you understand that, Mike? Water Lion, no followers or
Lion?
cults. What's up with that one?
Mm,
From Dave at Guild Superior. I'm not sure what that
I'm sorry,
means.
man. I don't
Me
know.
Prince
neither. Yeah.
Fulton.
But Zagig is an
I
interesting one.
Yeah, I don't know what that
And
means, Gary. Am I losing my mind here? Rennie have no
yeah.
gods and no souls.
Okay, no souls too. Uh-oh, this is yeah.
Yeah, there is the complete the complete listing of Len gods are in the articles in Dragon. You just go to
Yeah,
his.
and Len had
Yeah, Plus,
a
he has a
list
flow
somewhere.
chart. I have his
Mhm.
flow chart somewhere that Len gave
Mhm.
me. As It's not on this computer though; it's on the other computer downstairs because that was years ago.
So
It has to be
complete
3-4 years ago. We
list.
had him on doing that. He gave us an entire
Yep.
color coded flow chart with all the deities in his soul pantheon. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, Waterline has no cult or worshippers. Yeah, so.
But Sagi is interesting, and Bokob the same way because they are gods, highly specialized god. Bokob, the god of magic and uncaring. It's kind of, and then Sagi is his apprentice. And he's another one that got elevated into godhood, like Vecna or Ayus and others.
But
So,
that's different though. That was actually Gary Gygax's Elminster,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
Zagging
yeah.
backwards. Yeah, Ouija's one. Ouija is by far Len's best. I love Ouija. Ouija, as we all know.
I have
Yeah, but
had
I like
some
Ouija's better
people
than
play
Ouija.
Ouija's, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ouija, especially priests, are very powerful because they have a lot of necromancy capabilities. It's
I
just,
like in the writing, it says if you wear black robes, you're a good priestess or whatever, and if you wear white robes, you're evil. It's
interesting.
the reverse of what you would think. And
Wow.
gray's neutral.
Well, that's cool. Get it in reverse there. So I am looking here. You guys may be in for a treat here. I just realized that the folder for Len is on this machine. I copied it over, but I
Oh,
don't
good.
see. Oh, here we go. You ready? Let's do it. Let's share this. Here is Len's, because this is from an old Gavin or Legends and Lore. Here is this is for Len Lakofka himself, Slender Gods. So we got Lender, Norabo, Cord, Falcon, Cerule, Fortabo, Ouija, page 2. Pyramius, Beltar, Lurg, Phaeton, Zerbo, Osprey, Lydia, Braum, Jaskar, page 3. Aquaman, that was Bahamut Tiamat. Yep, there you go. That's all from Len himself. So
But it's interesting that Bahamut and Tiamat are
Darren's are
Sul,
cool too.
part of Suldom.
Hero
That
deity.
yeah.
Yep. So and this came right from Len and let me see if I got any other charts here. I got
that
his
could be
notes.
useful.
I have his notes here too. These are actually his notes on the deities. Yeah. Holy days associated. This is before the articles came out in Dragon. So yeah. So we got some really cool, and I get some really cool stuff from Leonard, which is really neat. So, yep. All right, I'm sorry, Anna. What were you saying before that?
No. It's. I was going to say it's interesting that we can go back to the sources in this case, and it's
because and once again. That is lost to time, unfortunately, and that's the sad thing. I'm not making an observation on the movie, but that's Ed's stuff, and like it's not Hasbro's D&D, right? The movie, but it's Ed created that stuff. Len created Ouija, one of the most popular deities in existence. Gary Gygax created a lot of deities. Jim Ward created a lot of deities. There's a ton of of wonderful stuff. So it's almost 2 years now for a year and a half for Len. Like I said, Barry, I don't know if you were around then, but we had him on like 40 times on the show. He would just show up in the middle of a show that he wasn't part of the discussion, participate and then just drop off 15 minutes later when he got
Mhm.
bored. It was really
Yeah.
clear. Go back to some of the old Gabbins and Legends and Lores, and you can find them just hopping on, which is really cool. So, all right, keep on hitting it up with some deities there. What we got?
We'll see what we have any questions.
It's cool. It's cool, Dave. That I got. Leonard was a big part of the early days of the growth of specifically Legends and Lore. I mean, he was on Gavin multiple times too. And
Oh,
first time I
yeah.
ever had him was on the Gavin. But Legends and Lore were the stuff with the hardcore Greyhawk discussion.
Mhm.
He would just love to come on, and he would just,
Yeah.
he was on the Ask the Experts during Virtual CrowdCon 1.
Mhm.
It's just some wonderful, wonderful stuff that I'm so glad. I mean, I was a part of it. I'm so glad we got him out of his shell after that first or second time we had him on. Then he just opened up. The same thing's happening kind of everyone with Roger Moore now. Roger wants to come on more shows. We're gonna have Roger on a lot more now coming up. So just so you're all aware. Yep. So, what questions we got for the audience? Thank you, Death. You were around. Yeah, you remembered. They were just so awesome. Just Len popping on out of the blue. Yeah. I'm just going to see if I enter any deity tidbits from Leonard. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have this. I have a Chapel of Lurgan here.
Oh.
Let me see. Let me see what this is. I wonder, is this from an adventure? Chapel of Lurg, lower level.
Ah, yes. That is part of, yeah.
Is that part of one of the new ones?
No, I think I've seen it was redone, I think fairly recently. So yeah, it must be probably one of the new
Good
ones.
question, Gary.
Yeah.
Who's my favorite PC god? That's a great question. I think, because I am a card carrying, as Phineas Figures said, if you ever remember the Phineas Figures Treasury Adventures, I'm a card carrying cat of good, right? Tritherian. I love Tritherian. That's my favorite. And my player characters. Back in the day when we were all triple class half elves, because you could do fighter cleric mages, Gazumba, and all them. It was Alana. Alana just made sense back then.
Oh yeah, I had an elven period 20, 30 years ago. I loved the elven gods more than anything. And then we had a kind of a Cuthbert, Pelorian kind of period for a while.
Yeah.
And now Flan and Heronius and Rao have come in my latest campaign. Zuktmoy is one that I've started to appreciate, and the evil ones from like the Nerolians and stuff. So I'm getting into a little bit of cult land and stuff. So now I'm trying to find the old Flandom has been the last 4 or 5 years, the Flan gods, and I've tried to think about the Flan and their religion and the Flan pantheon and how it ties into common in my Greyhawk campaign. So that has been with my majority of stuff. Now I want to go back into Elvendom again in for my next campaign. Yep.
So I will say this: if Jose Ortiz is still on, I really was appreciative when he ran the Inquisitor.
Yes,
adventure
that was
of
good.
Alator, and that was great. It fit right
Yep.
in. That was really good.
Yeah, but then we have the humanoid gods that are that I think requires some more.
It requires its own discussion.
Oh yeah, and also I would need to dig into. I want to dig into it much deeper in my campaign too. And thankfully, I used that as kind of try to wipe them out, so I can use him as a substitute right now. I don't need to.
Pleptopulp's the deity of the Kawatellans.
Oh, awesome! Yep.
Yep.
I love the name too.
Was that the Ravages of the Mind Map? It could have been. I don't know. It just says Lurgan here, which is Grell flipped around. He flipped stuff around just like Gary did all the time. I was just looking through the folder here of stuff that I had. So, yep. Yeah, so if you don't know, 2 of Len's modules were released by the Len Lakofka archive.
Yeah, they're available on my website. So hang on a second, I need to.
Too, right? Yeah, there you go. So, yep, very wonderful job by the crew doing that. So, the question of an artifact, Mike, can you think of an artifact or a magic item from that religiously based that is one of your favorites?
Kirk of Rao.
Are you serious?
That's most
That's the
famous.
first one I thought about too, but it's definitely not one of my favorites because it's
Yeah.
grossly overpowered. It's one of these things
Yeah.
that work in a lore way, but there's no mechanics for it really. That it seems to defy the rules of the game. And to
Well,
me, that's difficult. If you have an artifact that can cleanse the world of all the demons, then if the characters
Yeah.
get that, so to speak, can
It's
someone
actually
make one?
something though
Yeah.
that's like a clerical implement. It's something that
Yeah.
Roger Moore explained why, though. He needed an out to fix Greyhawk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's one of these things that
Yeah.
just works because it's
Yeah.
needed from a publisher's perspective.
cover.
And I hate it when you have things that works only because they need to change the story. And if the characters get it, it doesn't work anymore, or it doesn't work in reverse and stuff like that. It's kind of nah.
Okay. I'm going through this, and most of the magic items in the Greyhawk Adventures book are not deity based. They're location based, right? They'll have names after them of locations. They don't have like an item for Tritharian
No.
or.
The Wand of Orcus is a good one. Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And it's just a super powerful item, and it's in deities and demigods. Is it Greyhawk? Yeah. Well, yeah. Orcus is in Greyhawk, so.
Well, it's in DMG1, so I guess then
Yeah,
it becomes
absolutely.
Greyhawk.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
But
definitely Greyhawk.
Orcus is not treated as Greyhawk in that sense.
Yeah.
More than here and there he's used, but there seems to be no organized religion or maybe old Urfland cults and stuff. That's where I want to put him in. Yeah.
Here's an article I wrote for Postfest on Campfire, a Relgiions item.
Oh, nice.
Dagger of Misfortune. Yes.
Or at least it's attributed to him.
Nice.
It's not Relgiions' dagger. It's
right.
A cursed dagger.
Wow, this is old, Mike.
Relgiions.
2007. Wow.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. But see, I can't give that to Venerian Ford because I already gave him a tentacle rod, and he loves using that thing. Because that fits him perfect. A Dark Elf tentacle rod where he just, do you like the idea of gods always having the danger of PCs killing? No. So, Deathrick, good question. I do not like mixing deities with players. I think that is beyond the scope. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to run across the occasional deity that's wandering about, or I use who's based on the prime material, or even Washri, or Kellenin, or Merlin roaming about. But the main deities, I just think that's not the point of the game. Forgotten Realms.
Sent them out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yep. You haven't sent them out to kill them yet, and kill the deity yet.
No. We've had them fight major demons. They fought the Spader, who's a demigod, who's a servant of Asmodeus, right? Mm-hmm. Or we've had that, but we haven't had. That was, that's Monster Manual stuff, right? Back when we were younger. But I've never gone there.
Same here. I think we had fights with IUs personally back in the day and stuff before I knew what I was doing. So
exactly, and that's in the learning curve of the game, right? So.
I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know it as well as I do now. The end of the world campaigns were still the motto of the day, so to speak. I try to stay away from that now.
And by the way, we're still 2 followers from 10,000.
See? You have to go out and find
we'll get them tomorrow. If we don't get them tonight, we'll get them tomorrow. It's okay.
Here's another article I wrote from not that long ago, 2 years ago. I actually had my players fight the Earth Dragon.
Okay.
I can see that though. Dragon. I can see that because I say it's and Gary, I agree. Meddling is one thing, but fighting to the death to kill God is a whole different story. So, do you allow clerks to use the weapon that they got? No. Especially Priest of Tritharian. Were you playing in that game, Fion? She uses a spear. My glory axes use frickin' battle axes like they should, right? So the half ogre
medals.
What's that?
Oh, I was just reading Gary talking about Olympian and Norse pantheon. It made me think of Cord. Cord medals. Cord is the Zeus of the world of Greyhawk.
Yeah.
He's out there, creating little demigods everywhere.
Yeah. Falcon uses bows. Absolutely they use the weapons.
Cord and
Specialty
Killen
priests,
and,
not clerics. Specialty priests.
Kellenen, where does he fit in this?
So Kellenin is the hero deity personified, right? So the
Okay,
sword
but do
lord.
we know culturally where he comes
I
from?
don't know if we know that. Kellenin comes from the quasi deity article, and was an
Okay, yeah,
adventurer originally. So I don't think he
uh-huh.
falls into.
He's one like Cuthbert and others. He's a common
Yeah,
modern
I think
god that,
so.
yeah, mm-hmm, yeah.
I'm almost positive on that. But
And Cord is Cord.
Cord's Soul,
Okay, yep, mm-hmm,
Cord's Len,
yep. Cord
Cord
is
the
Zul.
Brawler.
Yep, mm-hmm,
Yeah,
yep.
a very chaotic neutral deity. One of the first I created chaotic neutral Greyhawk deities I created a specialty priest for. Alan's got a cord deity, specialty priest in the game. Usually, when I'm creating a specialty priest, it's because someone wants to play them, and that's why we have 43
Yeah.
over all the years. But yeah, I mean, it's just there's the variety when making a specialty priest up or making a clerical follower in that sense. You want them allow them to use weaponry. They're not regular clerics at that point. It's a whole different power level. Different spells, different special abilities per day. It's a whole different power level among sure cleric, which we use clerics for multi-classing capabilities. Really, only the straight cleric gets gone. If you're a straight class, you're a specialty priest. So elven fighter cleric mages still exist and all that, but that's just for healing, mostly for healing and turning undead, right? The game terminology. All right, great questions. What do we got here? 8947. So yes. So note, there's no. I play clerics more often if they were allowed to use their god's weapons. No, Scott Jeff. I mean, every single specialty piece in my campaign is set with weapons and where they can wear armor and all that. Every single one. Yep. Gotta have it that way. So just so you're aware. And there is so I believe on a Gabbin about a year ago, I had on Malden and I had on Malden and Eric Boyd. So look for that Gabbin on Specialty Priests, and you go over that. It's all Greyhawk based. It's really cool. Which God's followers do you hate to see the most? Great question. I love
Followers.
Voltus. I love them because they're the third wheel in causing problems between good and evil. Throw the Fultians in there, and they'll take on both sides, right? So I love Fultus.
As a DM, I kind of love Fultians, but as a player, I probably hate them. So yeah.
Yes.
I think they're terrible. So yeah.
Right. Charlie's like, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of who else I can't stand. I don't like. Oh man.
I would be sucked my.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tough question, Gary. Because as a DM, I kind of like them all because I can use them as thorns in the side of people. But I don't know. Sometimes some things get overdone, right? Some things get a little overdone, and I'm not a big fan on. For some reason, I think Ralph's kind of stale. Ralph's stale and stagnant. I prefer.
No, I like Rao.
You like Rao? Okay.
I really like him because he is not the god of the commoner, so to speak. He's the god for envoys and rulers and others who seek advice and on how to rule, govern, and avoid war and conflict. So that to me is
yeah, BB. I don't go south there, so I wouldn't use them. I probably wouldn't use them, right? So I dislike Iusian followers. But then again, I use them on Saturday night because they're so vile.
Yeah, as a DM, I love Ius in that sense. I use followers and stuff. It's the pain priest. There's a lot of potential there, and despite the fact that he's so into, he's still so described and there's volume, but still I think there's plenty of development headroom for inventing things when it comes to, yeah.
And please note, once again, your campaign's different. We may do things. That's okay. Yeah. That's a great thing about Greyhawk. Run it however you want. Yeah. We need to delve in a little bit more into some. We've done evil, but maybe into some more monster deities. A little bit more look at the cultural aspect of them. Charlie was letting Rick use a spear. He just gets to his Thoth only has a scepter. Well, and Chet, that's the that's the thing is that every DM is different. for stuff, and you've got a scepter, blunt. That would make sense. Staff, is blunt.
Oh, I remember when we started playing AD&D, we had a DM. He was adamant about clerics cannot use edged weapons, and we were like, oh, this is so boring. No one wanted to play cleric because you couldn't use edged weapons, and it was so much anal discussions about which weapon were not and whatever. Could bolts be used on a crossbow and stuff like that? Were they
Right.
blunt enough? And
Yeah.
we had so many. Now I realize how stupid, silly, and immature those discussions were. They were terrible. So I'm so glad that we have evolved. The game has evolved from that, because it was that was tedious stupidity. Yeah.
That's so, BB. That's incorrect. I mean, thieves use short bow. They can't use longbow. So they can use bows. They can't use they can't use shields, but they can use bows. So
Yep. That was it was, and to me, I think it was written in the game that early on that clerics had to
Right.
be not appetizing, or that unappealing to play in order to it was. I don't think we had a single cleric the first 5 years we played, and we never made it through 5th level. I think someone had a character that made it to 4th level, and we were like, oh, you have a character that is 4th level, and we played for like 2 years. So I went through maybe 100 characters, and they always died at 1st or 2nd level. We never made it through, and I'm still amazed that I continue to play. I can't understand why the heck I continue to play. It was so ridiculously stupid and dumb in the way we played it in the early days that it was kind of yeah. I
Don't
must
play
have,
clerics. You got to pay for clerics.
yeah.
Oh, don't
Yeah.
say that. That sounds like Michael Baton. We don't want to go there. The ultimate, the ultimate priest, the priest of Zilchus. Hey, if you want healing, you have to pay. Oh my gosh. Those Marco played him so well.
Yeah.
All right, so what a cool discussion tonight. I'm setting up, man. We are stacked on content coming up. Really, next week, especially waiting to see what's going on. Mike, we'll do some shout outs here and rub some dirt. Exactly, Troy. What's going on with you coming up? What do you got going on?
Well, I recently finished my Spelljammer campaign, so check mark.
Nice
success. That went very well. Faerun is saved. You're welcome, Ed.
Oh, cool.
So now I'm not DMing. We rotate that. So, but I might be starting another group.
Oh.
Maybe once a month. We'll see what they want to do.
All good.
Other than that, hey, I have a new blog post.
Nice.
You haven't seen it already.
Share it, please.
Fantastic metals and stones of Greyhawk.
Oh, wonderful.
So there you go.
That's a whole topic. Yeah.
You know it, Van.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Adamantite and mithril. I don't even know what Abdurium is. Oh, it's in expeditions. Oh, okay. That was the stuff down deep. All right. Yeah. Yeah. That was cool. Yep. Thank you. Really cool. So, second. Yeah, things changed with clerics back as the additions came. There's Casey, so we get some going on. Got some stuff coming up. So, Mike, that's good. If you got to miss once a month, it's not a big deal. With that group.
This should be weekend stuff.
Weekend, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you for this great topic. Anna, what do you got going on?
Tomorrow I'm playing in Von Malchus game again. Friday there will be a mapping live stream again, Linda and me. And then on Sunday we will play a session of my Shieldlands campaign. And we had a TPK-ish kind of last session we had. So they don't really know what the heck happened, so to speak. They all fell victim of a soul husk. And so now we'll see what happens. Maybe they're in the care of IU's priests or something even worse. We'll see what happens, so to speak. So they all were wiped out or at least got unconscious and failed. They all failed their saves. and so that gives me a carte blanche to do things, and as
They all
DM I
failed.
need to, yeah. So I it's rarely I get that kind of chance to reset the campaign, but I'm going to in some sense. So it's going to be an interesting session in from a lot of sense. But I'm late in planning it, so I'm like, oh, I need to because I have so many ambitions with it. So I need to both map it and plan it at the same time. So I've been working. That's why my Earth post has been delayed a few days because I want to plan for this game session. It's almost written. I just need to edit it through and stuff. So it's coming, and my GIS mapping is also coming. I'm learning new stuff primarily, and I'm georeferencing all the material I have. So it's setting there so I can start taking all my existing material and georeference it and make it into GIS. So that thing is slowly coming, but and the merch thing is slowly coming too. I thought we were just going to do a couple of T-shirts and a couple of mugs, but Noble Dwarf Marquis seems to have had huge ambitions, and so now I'm like, oh. So we'll see that, but we're working on it. So there might be some mugs and some T-shirts and a whole bunch of stuff coming. So we'll see.
Nice.
When we can get that done, so to speak. But I thought it was just going to be a couple of things to choose from at the start, but he had bigger ambitions. So now I'm worried. We'll see. Yep. So yeah, that's basically what's going on for the moment. Yep.
Awesome. Ready for this. I'm going to burn through these. Tomorrow, we start a Narwhal Headhunter Adventure 996. Getting close. The last stop on the road. So, of course, Bill did up a new piece, and I had to utilize it because that's just, right away. One sec here. Of course, I should have had a pick ready. You may have seen them on posts, but just utilizing some of the new ones. The storyline goes. The storyline goes as follows: The last stop on the road is a neutrally based way station between. It's roughly equidistant between Lord Mastrine's lands, Narwhal, and the Pascarel, and it's kind of like the inn that they can all go to, and there's no faction fighting. You go there and that's it, and it's always that truce is always maintained until something happens, and that's kind of how the adventure goes. So we'll see how this plays out, and this will be 2 weeks, I think. And these are like second, third, fourth level characters we're talking about here. So got that. That'll be tomorrow. Just as we on our way to Bartertown. No, it's basically an inn. It's a travel inn. It's a travel lodge. So hey, Hal, it's good to see you. So. I know it's before Twitch. That's another purge. If I don't get it tonight, gosh, thank you. I'll get it tomorrow. It's okay. Sunday night, Anna and I'm going to tell a quick story. Age of Worms. We're going to continue with it. We haven't done this in like 3 months. We're going to go back to our Dungeon Magazine adventure discussion, and we start with Dungeon 125, which is the second. The second one of the Age of Worms. The writer of that actually responded to me, back, and says he wishes he could come on, but he can't, and that's Mike Merles. So Mike did respond back to me and says maybe in the near future, that will change, and I could come on and discuss those things. So at least so I tried.
Yeah, that's good. You tried, and he responded.
I really
all the
tried.
Kudos for that. That's great.
Hells, I am 2 followers away from 10,000. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm 9,998 followers on Twitch. I'm just trying to get over to 10. Every 1,000 up to 10,000, we give away Best of Dragon Volume 3. There's no way I won't get it on tomorrow night, and we'll have it. We'll have it for Sunday night. That giveaway added. So, yes. So next Wednesday, Living Greyhawk High Folk. So
I'm looking forward to that.
Casey will be putting this together. We'll have some High Folk people there. It'll be a nice discussion. So be sure to tell him we've been. Yes, I have. I've mentioned that, Casey, definitely. So and that will be next Wednesday. We'll continue. Next Thursday we'll continue the adventure for Narwhal. Saturday morning, 10 a.m. The return of Rob Kuntz, okay? Sir Roblar himself returns. That's wrong. That's a wrong. I thought I had a shout out for it, but I don't. Okay, my bad. So, and it's going to be on the Adventures of Sir Roblar. He's going to do a lot of theoretical discussion on what they were thinking, what they were playtesting, Gary's thoughts. It's going to be all encompassing on Roblar. I think it's going to be a not to miss Gabbin. It's a special bonus one on Saturday morning. Next Saturday. I just think it's going to be wonderful. And then Sunday night next week, Return of the Wizards 3 with 3 unbelievable legends: Ed Greenwood, Jim Ward, and Jeff Grubb all together. So, yeah, like I said, we got some unbelievable stuff coming through the month. You have to work. That sucks. But yes, that is what's going on. And of course, Jeff, thank you, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Let's do the giveaway. Just seeing what's going on there. I also am trying to set up. Oh, and then of course, June 3rd, the 1000th adventure from our Wall of Fame. We're going to start at 9 o'clock in the morning that Saturday, and we're just going to run all day like we did when we were in high school and college. And I'm just going to stream it. And we're just going to be playing all my friends all day. So that'll be fun. Yeah, so there you go. All right, let's see who wins tonight. I'm thinking tonight I'm going to do a Treasures of Greyhawk unless you have it already. And then I'm going to do this Book of Taverns by Necromancer's Games. Came out third. This is really great. So those two, if you win, you have one of these two, let me know and I'll hook you up with something else. 200 Legends and Lore is 3 away. So next week is 198 and then 2 more. Gary, come up with an idea, man. And I'll run with it. We'll run with it. That's in a couple weeks. So let me know.
200.
And we will do that. So let me set the giveaway going up here. 200 Legends and Lore is coming. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. Ready for the winner. Yeah, we got 3 weeks. Caesar again, 2000 Caesar, winner, chicken dinner. Caesar, let me know. I think you already have a Treasures though. Let me know if you have the Book of Taverns, and I can throw in this great Mike Merle's adventure, Siege of Durgam's Folly. I love this, so let me know. I will get with you on that. Thank you all for the hype train. Thank you for all the raids. I really appreciate the support tonight, and we will see you all. See you all tomorrow night, 7:30, and hopefully everyone has a nice rest of the week, and we'll have a fun stab Caesar out of habit. Yes, but does that sound good? More Durgam's Folly and Book of Taverns, Caesar. Let me know. I'll get them in the mail tomorrow. Yep, tomorrow night will be tomorrow night is Gamescape 3D. Plus, we'll do a Reaper giveaway. So if you don't have a 3D printer, there'll be some miniatures. But we got some really cool Gamescape 3D STL groupings for you. But if you don't have it, don't worry. We'll be giving away something else. See you all next week for High Folk. Yep. All right, we're gonna raid into Guild Superior tonight. Sound good, fellow partner? All right, we'll see you soon. Good night. I'm gonna hit the wrong button. Wrong button. Boom. High Folk again? When did we do High Folk, Gary? Did we do High Folk?
I think we've done it. Yep.
Well, this will be a deep dive. How's that sound?
Well, we can always do it again. Anytime we get living Greyhawks on people, it is good.
Thank you for all the subs. They've really bounced back, which is I really appreciate it.
According to my spreadsheet, we didn't do Living High Folk. We did a topic on the visiting.
Yeah, I didn't think we did it. So, who's it's Bleak Season DMing over there, Guild? Here we go. We should get you 85 over there. 80-85 is my guess. Very close. All right, 70. 5, 4, 7, 3, 2, 1. Everyone have a good night. See you.